Chapter 878, The Mist Lotus Heartfire. Chapter 878, The Mist Lotus Heartfire. With Yimo's level 6 foundation establishment state power, his hair and clothes were instantly burnt away, and it even began to burn his skin. Yimo was shook. If it continued, he would turn into a pile of dust as soon as his cultivation essence dried out. Yimo immediately called out Winter's arrival. When Winter's arrival spread out, the stone room immediately sunk into cold frost. It was the first time Yimo applied Winter's arrival onto himself. The bone-chilling frost seeped into Yimo's burning body. The feeling of intense heat and cold was indescribable. Luckily, Winter's arrival was Yimo's belonging and it wouldn't harm his foundation. A moment later, Yimo felt his body's surface was covered by a layer of ice. He finally breathed at ease. The frost had stopped the Leisure Fire's rampage. However, just when Yimo was relaxing, he felt something was wrong. The thin layer of ice soon melted and the intense flame of the Leisure Fire quickly charged at him again. Yimo quickly urged Winter's arrival to form a layer of ice on his body, but it melted in an instant. Things repeated like this and Yimo soon realized how dire the situation was. Winter's arrival was getting weaker and weaker, while the Leisure Fire was getting stronger and stronger. If things went down like this, Winter's arrival would soon be completely extinguished and he would be burnt to ashes. With this thought, Yimo took a burst essence pill and used all his spirit sense to try to spirit control the Leisure Fire. The flame was still weak at that moment. If it returned to its prime, then he might not be able to spirit control, even if he had been at golden core state. The burst essence pill allowed his power to increase drastically and reach foundation establishment state level 8 tertiary stage before stopping. Yimo was aware that time was limited. So, he used all of his power and spirit sense to envelope the flame and spirit control it. Otherwise, all he would be able to do was go into the golden page world. However, if he exhausted all of his spirit sense and cultivation essence, he wasn't sure if he could. Feeling Yimo's drastic increase in power, the flame seemed to notice danger and stopped fighting Winter's arrival. Instead, it was trying to free itself from Yimo's spirit sense. Yimo felt this and realized something. Had the flame developed its own will? Thinking about this, Yimo's heart fired up. Since the flame was trying to escape, Winter's arrival had an opportunity to retaliate. Thanks to Yimo's increased power, it actually controlled the flame. The flame had some intelligence, but it was too low level. Hence, as Yimo's spirit controlled it, the flame struggled, but it was getting weaker and weaker. An hour later, Yimo had completely controlled the flame. He hadn't finished spirit controlling it, but it was no big deal for the moment. Seeing how Winter's arrival had shrunk in size, Yimo's heart ached. For a long time, he wouldn't be able to rely on it for help. After putting Winter's arrival away, Yimo focused on spirit controlling the Leisure Fire. The more he focused, the more he was shook. He realized that the flame wasn't a Leisure Fire, it was a Mist Lotus Heartfire. The Leisure Fire was an Earth Fire, but the Mist Lotus Heartfire was Heaven Fire. There was a core difference between the two. The Mist Lotus Heartfire could rank number 3 among the 36 types of fire found in the cultivation realms. It was a legendary flame. Yimo wanted to scream in excitement. Out of the 36 types in the cultivation realm, 10 were heaven fires and the rest were all earth fires. There were countless cultivation realms in the universe and the Mist Lotus Heartfire ranked 3rd out of the 36 different flames. This was rather astonishing. Yimo had heard that on Luoyu continent, a fire element cultivator once got the extreme Geng fire, that ranked 4th. He was invincible amongst those on the same state. For some reason, this cultivator disappeared, and so did the extreme Geng fire. Many people believed that the cultivator had caused too many carnages and a lot of them wanted to hunt him down. Another reason could be due to the fire. Anyone would want such a high-level fire seed. The top 10 flames were all heaven fires. Its power was far from something earth flames could compare with. He also realized that if he had the Mist Lotus Heartfire, he couldn't show it around. Otherwise, he would be dead for sure. If he got the Leisure Fire, he could use it for pill concoction. People usually didn't dare to touch a pill master with Leisure Fire. Even if he got Abyssal Earth Fire, he would still be safe if he became a pill king. After all, it had still ranked 11th, it wasn't in the top 10. Revealing that one had a heaven fire would be a disaster. The Mist Lotus Heartfire was not only a heaven fire, but one that had ranked in top 3. Yimo understood why Li Yuqian had thought of the flame was the leisure fire. They were quite similar. Both had a small gust of mist inside the flame. Yet, the leisure fire only had mist on the outside of the flame. Once the flame got an orange color, it would gradually disappear. Meanwhile, the Mist Lotus Heartfire was the opposite. It didn't have the mist to begin with and would only develop a little after reaching orange color. When the flame reached higher levels, the mist would become more and more condensed. Yimo hurried to spirit control the flame. His burst essence pill time had almost ran up. Just when he was about to spirit control the flame, he felt motion on his surveillance formation. Yimo didn't dare to look who was coming. He spat a mouthful of essence blood and forcefully spirit controlled the Mist Lotus Heartfire. Then, he ran out of the room without thinking twice. As soon as he did, he went into the golden page world. Then, Yimo immediately took a stalagmite benefit pill to mediate the side effects. Song Yangzhu wasn't there after all. Chapter 879, The Secret Inside the Formation. Chapter 879, The Secret Inside the Formation. Yimo didn't have time to check the situation outside and he just held onto the Mist Lotus Heartfire. It was completely spirit-controlled by Yimo now, so it became a pea-sized flame which floated quietly about Yimo's dantian. Yimo thought about this. An orange flame with some white mist appeared above his finger. The flame seemed peaceful and calm. Nothing like the deadly burning fury Yimo had unleashed before. It looked like cotton and it danced between Yimo's fingers. Yimo happily put away the flame and started to check his body. His body was completely ruined, his skin was charred and he had no hair. He had no more Lotus Life pills, but Yimo didn't worry. He had many other pills. He took a few cultivation recovery pills and took a shower with a water spell before putting on a clean set of clothes. Then, he checked his charred hair and just shaved himself bald. Afterwards, Yimo looked at his surveillance formation. Rumble. As soon as his spirit sense went into the formation, a huge sound shook his formation. There wasn't just one person there. A black-faced man stood in the middle of the hill. He had short hair and a dark mole. Yimo was sure that he was the person he had seen on the flying cart. He felt uncomfortable just by looking at him. Yimo believed that if he stood before this cultivator, he might not even be able to move just from the power this cultivator was emitting. In front of the dark-faced cultivator there was a skinny old man. His hair was white and his eyes narrowed into a line. He seemed very innocuous, but Yimo felt both were equally dangerous. There were tens of meters of distance between the two and a 10-meter deep ravine. Old man Sima Zhu, a few decades have passed and you're still at hollow spirit state middle stage. That's quite unexpected. The dark-faced cultivator had no expression on his face. The skinny old man smiled. Likewise, Tong Wusheng, you're also at hollow spirit state middle stage. Sima Zhu, cut the B** shishit. Where is it? Tong Wusheng said coldly. The old man sneered and took out half of a book. He then said, I brought it here of course, where is your thing? Tong Wusheng saw the book and looked desperate. At the same time, another half of a book also appeared in his hand. They both looked at each other's half with intense desire. They both smiled and put their half a book in a jade box. Then, they moved a few kilometers back, set up a defense formation and put the jade box inside. Yimo noticed that both jade boxes were filled with restriction, which meant that even if the other person got the jade box, one only needed to want it for the box as well as its contents to turn into ashes. The two men were about to fight and they had done this to prevent the box from getting harmed. Yimo could guess the story behind this. They had found a book together and fought over it, ripping it in half. In order to make the book become one again, they decided to fight to decide who could have it. Yimo also realized why that dark-faced cultivator had set up a few trap and attack formations. He was scared he was no match for the old man. Tong, don't make me disappointed this time, the old man sneered and waved his hand. A black gust of mist appeared, immediately reaching a 10 m circumference, and it approached Tong Wusheng. It was very fast and it could expand. Moreover, It moved based on where Tong Wusheng was. Yimo saw through the surveillance formation that the mist was actually a net-shaped cultivation artifact. Although he couldn't feel the cultivation essence wave through the screen, he could tell that the net wasn't simple. It felt very eerie. Yimo even felt that the bleak net seemed to get more powerful in this place. If so, why had Tong Wusheng agreed to battle there? Tong Wusheng's cloak suddenly expanded. His eyes turned red. He weaved many hand signs and instantly, tens of flying sword were shot out of his cloak. They soon turned into a sword formation which attacked the net. More flying sword flew out of his cloak incessantly, as though he would never run out of flying swords. Clash countless bones on the ground were swept away and turned into dust in the collision with their cultivation essence. Such a powerful motion. Sima Zhu, you're so sneaky. You found an abyssal yin net cultivation artifact. No wonder you chose to settle things here. Tong Wusheng sneered. Sima Zhu sneered in contempt. Tong Wusheng, you're no noble gentleman either. You have probably set up a trap and attack formation here, right? What a pity. It's been so many years and your formation skills are still the same. I'm really disappointed. Yimo heard this and was speechless. Both of their speeches were cunning as hell. However, Yimo was confused. With Tong Wusheng's knowledge of Sima Zhu, he shouldn't have used formations that Sima Zhu could see through to help him fight Sima Zhu. Tong Wusheng heard this and his expression changed drastically, as though he hadn't expected Sima Zhu to be able to see through them. Tong Wusheng's expression looked very bad and he attacked even harder. Meanwhile, Yimo found that the abyssal yin net seemed to be having the upper hand. Yet, Yimo felt something was missing. There was no way Tong Wusheng was this immature. Why did he use these formations to attack Sima Zhu, who understood about formations? Perhaps he knew he wouldn't be able to hide them from Sima Zhu beforehand. If so, why did he set them up? Yimo used his surveillance formation to check out Tong Wusheng's formations. He suspected that they weren't for Sima Zhu. After some time, Yimo noticed that these few formations were actually higher level than what he had thought. It was 1 trap and 3 attack formation. The outer kill formation had a hidden mechanism. If Tong Wusheng activated the outer attack formation and attacked Sima Zhu, the other 2 formations would immediately transform into a duplicate kill formation and a transmission trap formation. The duplicate kill formation was to attack Sima Zhu, but the transmission trap formation could instantly move the 2 jade boxes to his hand. Yimo realized that since Tong Wusheng dared to do this, he had a way to stop Sima Zhu from destroying the book. He wondered if the old man had seen through this. Yimo was expecting a good show. Chapter 880. Why not steal it and run? Chapter 880. Why not steal it and run? Yimo saw through the mist that there were countless sword rays flashing through it. It seemed like the battle was at a stalemate. Yimo watched it for a while and found that his eyes couldn't follow their fighting marks at all. Hence, he changed his formation to watch the 2 books. Something that could get 2 hollow spirit state fighting shouldn't be a simple item. However, Yimo soon realized that he could only see the box, but not what was inside. If he wanted to see it clearly, he would have to use spirit sense. If he wanted to use spirit sense, he would have to leave the golden page world. He could only use the formation to see the outside world for now. Thinking that the 2 hollow spirit state cultivators were busy fighting, Yimo decided to put on 9 transformations and leave the golden page world. Those 2 cultivators didn't have the energy to mind him. It was fine for him to check the 2 books as long as his spirit sense didn't touch the boundaries of their battle. Yimo left the golden page world and waited for a long while. He hadn't noticed anything, so he carefully concealing his kai and extended his spirit sense to check the 2 books. Yimo knew that even if he used 9 transformations, it would be hard to trick a hollow spirit state cultivator. Hence, he could only put his hopes on the 3 birth chant stealth art. As soon as his spirit sense touched the 2 halves of the book, he was shook and immediately took back his spirit sense. He realized he had done something stupid. He was caught as soon as his spirit sense touched the jade boxes. He took back his spirit sense and immediately hid on the edge of the natural spirit sense barrier formation. Soon, he felt 2 powerful spirit senses scan on the spirit sense barrier formation. So powerful. Yimo thought. Tong, there's actually a third person here. You're really weak. Sima sneered. Tong Wusheng said coldly, Sima, old man, you didn't find him either. A mere Foundation establishment state cultivator dares to scheme against me for this book. He's asking to die. Both of them knew Yi Mo was there, but they didn't care at all. Sima Zhu suddenly said, a mere Foundation establishment state cultivator is hiding in a formation that even our spirit sense can't scan. It must be a natural formation. Usually, these formations are created with rare treasures. Tong, how about I leave the natural formation and that Foundation establishment state with you, and you give me the book? No matter what's inside the formation, I won't take it. Also, don't worry, I'll carve a jade slip for you. The dark-faced cultivator smiled and seemed interested. At least, his attack was slowing down. Yi Mo knew he had been caught, but he didn't dare go into the golden page world. If they found out that he disappeared, they would know he has a pocket world artifact. Such things were extremely valuable to even truth realization state cultivator. If he let get known it, he only needed to wait to get killed. Yi Mo had just scanned the book once, but he knew what sort of book it was. It was the most sought supplementary text. It was called Things. Yi Mo had scanned through the spirit herb section and seen that all the herbs had images and were explained in detail. It even showed its characteristics and how to cultivate them, as well as what sort of pills they could be made into. Yi Mo came from a herbal sect, yet by scanning the book once, he could tell that about 40% of spirit herbs in it he didn't know. Yi Mo could only imagine how quickly his pill concoction skills would skyrocket after obtaining this book. However, what got him most excited was the pill concoction recipes he saw under each spirit herb. The 3-birth chant was overpowered, but it wasn't easy to create his own pill recipe. Even if he could, it would be after countless trials and it would waste countless spirit herbs and time. It was a heavenly big fortune. Spirit herbs were just a small portion of it. Yi Mo suddenly had a crazy thought, why not just steal it and run? There was a knife in front of him and a knife behind him. Instead of waiting for death, he might as well fight for his life. With this thought, Yi Mo could no longer resist his crazy urge. He forced himself to calm down and look at the two cultivators fighting through the surveillance formation. The black mist had spread out. Yi Mo could barely see Sima Zhu's net. Meanwhile, Tong Wusheng's sword formation was also not as wild. They seemed to be about to stop. Yi Mo was shook. If they stopped fighting, he was dead for sure. What should he do? Yi Mo desperately wanted an answer. At this moment, he suddenly saw Tong Wusheng throw many formation flags and quickly weave a few hand signs. Yi Mo could tell that Tong Wusheng was about to activate the formation to steal the book. He was disappointed. Just when Yi Mo was about to run, he suddenly stopped and looked very excitedly. Sima Zhu hadn't disappointed him. After Tong Wusheng threw the formation flags, he also threw a few formation flags. The attack formation slowed down and the transmission formation didn't transmit to Tong Wusheng, but to Sima Zhu. Yi Mo commended Sima Zhu's wits. He was sure that he had come to check the place after Tong Wusheng left. After knowing Tong Wusheng's plan, he decided to utilize it and make a few more formations on top of Tong Wusheng's formations. He had been waiting for Tong Wusheng to throw the formation flags so he could redirect the transmission to himself. Yi Mo realized that this amicable-looking old man was actually more bleak than Tong Wusheng. However, Tong Wusheng was confused because he was sure he could prevent Sima Zhu from destroying the box. Yet, how had Sima Zhu managed to get it? Sima Zhu, you old fart. You love to play sneakily indeed. Tong Wusheng was very angry and attacked with full force. More flying sword birthed from his cloak and joined the sword formation. Sima Zhu sneered, you're no better yourself. The mist rose again, as though it wanted to cover the skies. Tong Wusheng saw the box nearing Sima Zhu, so he yelled, Sima Zhu, if you dare rob it, I'll make my half turn into dust immediately. Yi Mo took out his formation. It was the best moment to attack. Chapter 881, The Foundation Establishment State Insect That Escaped. Chapter 881, The Foundation Establishment State Insect That Escaped. Yi Mo was a very decisive person. He dashed out of the stealth formation immediately. As soon as he got to the Changfen Hill, He felt a bone-etching killing intent and a rampant cultivation essence. He didn't even dare to look at the two men fighting, and he just threw tens of formation flags. If he activated these flags, the formation that Sima had modified would change again. Then, Yimo dashed towards the two jade boxes, protected by the restriction. Although Yimo was as fast as lightning, he was still noticed the instant he came out of the formation. Seeing this, Sima laughed. He didn't even look at Yimo and sneered, "This Wanbei is interesting." Tong Wusheng didn't look at Yimo either. However, he sneered and changed his sword formation. "Old man Sima, why don't we kill this Foundation Establishment State insect first and then fight?" Yet, Tong Wusheng kept putting pressure on the attack. Sima sneered and didn't even reply. With more cultivation essence input, the dark net became stronger and stronger. He was having the upper hand and the transmission formation was transferring the two jade boxes to him. How could he stop fighting now? A Foundation Establishment State cultivator wouldn't even be able to touch the box, he would just get killed by the restriction outside. To them Yimo's actions didn't pose a threat. A Foundation Establishment State would be daydreaming if he thought he could open up restrictions set by a Hollow Spirit State cultivator. Even if there were no restrictions and they gave the two jade boxes to the Foundation Establishment State, he wouldn't be able to get out of the trap formation. Despite the trap formation having been transformed into a transmission formation, it still had the functions of a trap formation. It wasn't something a mere Foundation Establishment State could break through. Even if he could, the time it would take for him to do it was enough for the two masters to kill him countless times. Even if Yimo instantly broke free the restriction and ran out of the trap formation, there were destruction restrictions on the box. Moreover, even if they didn't destroy the box, they could follow the jade box, which would lead to the Foundation Establishment State cultivator. No matter what, even if he ran for 5 days non-stop, a Foundation Establishment State cultivator wouldn't be able to escape the hunt of two Hollow Spirit State masters. Although they didn't care about Yimo at all, Yimo had instantly triggered their killing intent for daring to try to deceit a Hollow Spirit State cultivator for his belongings. Before Yimo had even gotten to the restriction was ready to kill Yimo under the control of the two Hollow Spirit States cultivators' spirit sense. Yimo was much better with formations than the two masters, and restrictions came from formations. He could tell he shouldn't forcibly open the restriction or he would lose his life. Yimo didn't care about the restriction. He left behind the last formation flag. He didn't attack them because he had realized the two men didn't consider him a threat at all. If Yimo activated the trap and destroyed the formation now, then perhaps the two cultivators would stop fighting and kill him instead. Yimo went up to the restriction and reached his hand inside, grabbing the two jade boxes. Afterwards, he darted out of the hill right away. It seemed that the restriction and formation didn't affect him at all. The instant he got out, Yimo didn't forget to leave the activation formation flag outside the trap formation. If someone got out of the trap formation, it would activate the attack and trap formation outside. It all happened so fast that even the two Hollow Spirit State cultivators couldn't have predicted this to happen. Even though it was just a quickly made restriction, the trap formation Tong Wusheng had left wasn't weak. Yet, he had easily escaped from it. Neither of them knew that Yimo had already studied this trap formation, so they were completely in shock. However, they didn't rage because they knew that no matter how far Yimo got, he wouldn't be able to escape as long as he had the jade box. Yimo immediately got on his flying sword outside the hill. He didn't use the flying pike, as it was easy to find out his identity through that. Moreover, he knew that no matter how fast he was, 800 to 1,000 kilometers was within the range of a Hollow Spirit State cultivator's spirit sense. On the flying sword, Yimo saw through the surveillance formation that the two cultivators were still fighting. He rejoiced. As long as he got out of their spirit sense range, he would be able to completely disappear. "Old man Sima, the thing has been stolen. What's the point of you fighting with me here?" Tong Wusheng was aware that Yimo wouldn't be able to keep it, but he still didn't feel happy about it. Sima nodded. "Yes, although I'll get it back, it's angering that an insect took it. Okay, let's stop fighting and chase him. Whoever gets to it first, takes it." Tong Wusheng happily agreed to this as he got on a flying cultivation artifact. Yimo noticed the two cultivators were about to stop. He tried his best to fly faster. The two men immediately headed out of the Changfen Hill. Sima Zhu was fast and Tong Wusheng wasn't slow either. As soon as they got to the borders of the trap formation, it suddenly got activated. The other three attack formations were also activated too. When the four formations got activated, even they were hindered for a few minutes. However, they soon broke free. They stared at each other, wanting to reproach the other. Yet they realized that neither of them had activated the formation. Tong Wusheng grabbed a formation flag at the border of the trap formation and his expression turned bleak. How dare you tamper with my formation, P*NK. There's not only a formation activation flag, but also a surveillance formation, F***CK. Sima Zhu laughed. Tong Wusheng had set up the formations and not only he had used them, but the Foundation Establishment State Cultivator had done it too. Yimo estimated that he was already out of their spirit sense range and got on the flying pike to reach maximum speed. At the same time, he placed the jade boxes into his golden page world. He was sure that no matter what spirit sense mark was on them, no one from outside would be able to scan it once he placed them in his golden page world, not even a truth realization state cultivator. Yimo was outside of their spirit sense range, so he didn't keep running. He landed in a valley and went a few hundred meters underground before going into the golden page world. He was sure that after that great escape, not even a body condensation state would be able to find him. The only worry he had was that the two might have seen through his disguise. It was a very small possibility, but he didn't dare to be careless. Yimo was betting on the thought that the two hollow spirit state cultivators had considered him to be an insect and hadn't uses their spirit sense to closely watch his face. Tong Wusheng and Sima Zhu had suddenly stopped talking. They had used their spirit sense to contact the spirit sense marks they had left on their boxes again and again in disbelief, but after a long while, there was still no reaction. The two men glanced at each other and realized this was happening to both of them. Chen-PF. A mere Foundation Establishment State Cultivator dares to be this cocky, Tong Wusheng roared. Draw me a painting of him. How dare he steal things from me? He. He's got balls. Sima Zhu licked his lips. Chapter 882, Searching for a Place. Chapter 882, Searching for a Place. Tong Wusheng heard this and immediately realized that Sima Zhu hadn't looked at the Foundation Establishment State Cultivator carefully, just like him. His heart sunk. If he knew what Yimo looked like, he might be able to use his abilities to find this person. How were they supposed to look for Yimo when they didn't even know how he looked like? That Foundation Establishment State Cultivator barely had any cultivation essence or spirit sense wave. It was very subtle, yet now it seemed intentional. Such means. Tong Wusheng sneered. Then he looked coldly at Sima Zhu. I just know that he was wearing a face-changing magic artifact. I really didn't look at what he looked like. He was a hollow spirit state master. Why would he look carefully at the face of a mere Foundation Establishment State Cultivator who was about to die? Moreover, he was concentrated on the fight with that old man, Sima. Sima Zhu heard this and his expression also turned very bad. He was a hollow spirit state middle stage master, yet he had had something stolen in front of his face by a Foundation Establishment State insect. This was like a slap to the face. Sima Zhu sneered and didn't say anything. He took out a boat-shaped cultivation artifact and dashed away in a black ray. A cultivation artifact. Tong Wusheng saw this and his expression turned bad. He hadn't thought that Sima Zhu also had a flying cultivation artifact. It was also low-grade, but it seemed better than his. No wonder that old man had agreed that whoever caught the Foundation Establishment State insect would get the treasure, so this was it. He had been played by the old man twice and felt extremely unhappy. Luckily, there was a Foundation Establishment State that stole it from them, or the thing would be in Sima Zhu's hands by now. As long as it wasn't Sima's, he had a chance to get it. However, Tong Wusheng immediately thought of another problem. He had gotten the flying cart cultivation artifact from an auction. How did Sima Zhu have a black net cultivation artifact and a flying boat cultivation artifact? Had he found an ancient ruin or something? He chased after the direction of Sima Zhu had taken immediately. However, Sima Zhu simply returned to the Change Fen Hill. He looked sardonically at the direction Tong Wusheng was coming from and scorned, "Dark-faced idiot. You want to fight over things with me. Even without that Foundation Establishment State insect, things would have never been yours. So what if he took my book and avoided my spirit sense? If I can't even deal with a Foundation Establishment State insect, I would have lived these few centuries for nothing. Interesting. There's a natural formation here and a stone room inside." Sima Zhu suddenly paused and looked around. It's not natural. Someone set it up here. Who? Why did he do this? Sima Zhu looked around and suddenly dashed to the stone wall, grabbing a rock from behind the wall. He then put the stone inside his mouth. After a moment, he spat the rock out and stared at this wall in shock, before saying word by word, "There was a heaven and earth rare fire seed here. Who used a formation to put the fire seed here? Is it the abyssal earth fire?" Sima Zhu was shook. He was more and more certain of it as the place was full of yin kai and it was the best kind of greenhouse for the abyssal earth fire. Sima Zhu suddenly took out an orange flame and thought about it in excitement. His leisure fire ranked 29th in the cultivation realm. If he got the abyssal earth fire, which had ranked 11th, wouldn't he have the ability to reach Pill King? Pill King? Sima Zhu couldn't contain his excitement. He was more and more interested in that Foundation Establishment State insect. A Foundation Establishment State insect had managed to get the abyssal earth flame. If he got things too, his future possibilities were unimaginable. Here. Sima Zhu smiled bleakly. Since he knew about it, that Foundation Establishment State insect's good fortune would be coming to an end. Just when Sima Zhu was about to leave, he remembered another rare fire seed, the mist lotus heart fire. It could also grow in places with abundant yin kai. The mist lotus heart fire not only needed yin, but also yang kai to upgrade. Sima Zhu was dumbfounded. If it really had been the mist lotus heart fire, he didn't dare to keep thinking. If he had to choose, then he would choose the mist lotus heart fire over a few books of things. It was a heaven fire. If he got it, he could even reach truth realization state. Thinking that the Foundation Establishment State cultivator might have taken away the mist lotus heart fire, Sima Zhu could no longer stay calm. He could feel his heart thumping like it used to a few hundred years ago, when he was young. At that time, he had fallen in love with a martial sister from his sect. When he first gave her a present, his heart was thumping like now. At the time, his talent was poor. But that martial sister had great talent and became Dao partners with another core disciple. He had been rejected and left the sect to become a lone cultivator. However, his fortune changed and he received a pill master's inheritance. He became a pill master and his power also rose drastically due to his pill concoction skills improving. When he became a nascent soul state cultivator, the first thing he did was to go back and get revenge. His martial sister was already at golden core state, so he raped his martial sister in front of her husband. Her husband was so angry that he died from it, but he loved the satisfaction it brought him. He had never felt so happy before. Yet today, due to the mist lotus heart fire, he could feel that passion again. Perhaps he would be able to take it from that insect soon. Sima Zhu licked his purple lips. His eyes were full of greed. He looked around. He damaged the formation and the contents inside without hesitation. He didn't want any other person to know that there might have been a heaven fire there. Tong Wusheng got there not long after Sima Zhu had left. All he saw was ruins. The two cultivators believed that small Foundation Establishment State cultivator couldn't be more than 50,000 kilometers away from them. Since they didn't find Yi Mo in a short time, they believed Yi Mo was hiding near the Chang Fen Hill because only hiding could the two men not catch up to him. The two masters searched everywhere in a 50,000 kilometers radius. When they came across other cultivators and couldn't get an answer from them, they would cut their limbs off or kill them. Soon, the Chang Feng Hill became a forbidden ground for cultivators because everyone knew two cruel masters were searching for something there. The two cultivators encountered each other a few times, but they never talked. They were very smart. Yi Mo was indeed hiding within their search range. Chapter 883, Abandoning the Double-Edged Sword to Start Using the Single-Edged Sword. Chapter 883, Abandoning the Double-Edged Sword to Start Using the Single-Edged Sword. Emo wasn't worried that the two masters would find him in the Golden Page world. His Golden Page world was hidden in the earth and it was impossible to find it unless they used spirit sense to look at that small block of earth specifically. The journey to Changfeng Hill had been full of dangers, but it had been very worth for Emo. Seeking for fortunes in danger was a wise decision. He not only got the Mist Lotus Heartfire, but also things. He had spirit-controlled the Mist Lotus Heartfire. All he wanted to do now was break the restrictions on the two jade boxes and study things. Emo took out the two boxes and found they were covered with all sorts of spirit sense marks and restrictions. With one thought, they could destroy the box. These two cultivators were very calculative and selfish people. Emo laughed. If the two masters hadn't fought and had agreed instead to give each other the other half of the book, everything would have been fine. But now, it could only benefit him. There were a lot of restriction on the boxes, but it was no big deal for Emo. It just took him half an hour to remove all the restrictions. He then took out the two halves of the book and burned the boxes away with his Mist Lotus Heartfire. The book seemed to have been severed by something sharp. Emo believed it had been torn apart before. The material of the book was very soft, but sturdy. Emo tried to tear it and he couldn't. He fused the two halves together. He got immediately immersed in the vast array of knowledge inside: the Spirit Herb Scroll, the Ore Scroll, the Beast Scroll, the Spirit Insect Scroll, the Fire Seed Scroll, etc. Emo scrolled through the book. There were tens of scrolls. Emo flicked it to the Fire Seed Scroll and looked up the Mist Lotus Heartfire. The Mist Lotus Heartfire ranked 17th in the 108 fire seeds ranking and 3rd in the cultivation realm. It was a rather good fire, even amongst the heaven fires. Emo liked it a lot. The more he understood about the Mist Lotus Heartfire, the more he realized why it had appeared at the Changfeng Hill. It could upgrade through devouring Yin Kai. It seemed like someone had intentionally left it there for it to upgrade. Emo was confused. Why had no one gone to pick it up even though it had reached orange color? It was either because the person had died or because he hadn't had time to do it, so Emo got to it before him. Regardless, Emo had spirit-controlled the flame and he wasn't going to give it back. Then, Emo flicked to the Spirit Herb Scroll. Time flew by. 20,000 kilometers away from Emo, both of the cultivators felt the spirit sense marks and restrictions being destroyed, but they couldn't find the source. Their expressions didn't look very good. 3 days later, Emo had already roughly scanned through the book. He had looked at the Spirit Herb Scroll very carefully, but he just vaguely remembered the other scrolls. After greatly increasing his knowledge, Emo had realized why there were so few level 7 Spirit Pill Masters and above. Not everyone could get the 3 birth chant, or things. It was pretty much an encyclopedia of cultivation. That's why the two men were fighting over it so desperately. He put away things, but he didn't leave the Golden Page world. Even though he had destroyed the restrictions and the spirit sense marks, he didn't put them in his storage ring as it came from hollow spirit state cultivators. He had to be careful. It had been 3 days, but Emo was certain that Sima Zhu and Tong Wusheng hadn't left yet. He took out the Illusion Cloud 9 swords and started studying it. Emo had decided to change his main weapon of attack to a single-edged sword. His 3-birth sword ray was made for a double-edged sword, but he could change it for a single-edged sword. However, Emo wanted to combine the 3-birth sword ray and the Illusion Cloud 9 strikes to form a new sword ability. He believes there were many similarities between the two attack techniques, so Emo wanted to melt the 3-birth sword ray into the Illusion Cloud 9 strikes. Emo gave a new name to the Illusion Cloud's first strike, the Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Sword. The essence of this strike was the same as the original movement. The sword Kai created from the Illusion Cloud was very extraordinary. It could be used to bind enemies. Emo was an expert in formations too, and he could feel that the first strike had an order. These orders were like a binding formation. The Illusion Cloud 9 sword was a very direct attack. The first move wasn't to attack the enemy, but to seal of the enemy's retreat. It was very harsh on oneself and the enemy. Emo really liked it. The second strike were given the name of the Illusion Cloud Division Strike. This move combined his sword ray so that after a sword ray was shot, it would keep dividing like his three-birth sword ray. It was this strike that Yi Mo felt was much stronger than the original move. The third strike was named the Illusion Cloud Flying Whirl Strike. It was just like the original move. When using it, Sword Kai whirlpools formed. The amount of whirlpools depended on the person's cultivation essence and spirit sense. The power of the third strike completely depended on one's cultivation essence. However, once used, its power also depended on the person's understanding of sword will. The deeper the sword will, the more powerful the sword. In a month's time, Yi Mo had mastered the Illusion Cloud 3 strikes. However, Yi Mo couldn't unleash the full power of the third strike, as he hadn't understood its sword will yet. But Yi Mo knew there was no rush. He had decided to fully master the first 3 strikes before trying to learn the fourth strike. Chapter 884, Returning to River State. Chapter 884, Returning to River State. Yi Mo had been out a month and a half. It was almost time that he gave Li Yuqian the Cow Huan pill as he promised, but Yi Mo didn't go out yet. He wasn't sure if the 2 old guys had left. It had been too risky to steal things from the 2 hollow spirit state cultivator, but Yi Mo didn't regret it. If he hadn't done that, how would he know about all the magical items in the cultivation realm? How could he have his current world view? How else would he know that he could use the stalagmite marrow to make the spirit recovery pill? The spirit recovery pill was very precious. It was a heaven-grade pill. It was rather hard to make. Yi Mo hadn't known what the main ingredients for the pill were, but he now knew that it was made of the stalagmite marrow. However, almost all the spirit recovery pills on the market didn't use the stalagmite marrow. The main ingredient was something else. Even so, it was still so expensive that most people couldn't afford. With the Mist Lotus Heartfire, Yi Mo just took a day to make 4 cauldrons of the Cow Huan pill. Other than the first try, on which he only concocted 1, he concocted 3 on the other tries. He also put aside 1 more Cow Huan fruit because he found that it had another use in things. It could be made into the 60-year pill. This pill could extend one's life by 60 years. Usually, a golden core state cultivator's lifespan was estimated at about 400 years. In the cultivation realm, the lifespan of cultivators below nascent soul state was based on their power. At Kai gathering state, there was no lifespan increase. The average was estimated at about 100 years. When they reached foundation establishment state, their lifespan could reach 200 years. At golden core state, it would be around 400 years, and at nascent soul state it would be 800 years. However, once they broke through nascent soul state, the lifespan stopped increasing as much. A hollow spirit state cultivator usually had about 1,200 years of life. A body condensation state cultivator could have about 1,600 years. Even a cauldron filling state cultivator only had about 2,000 years of life. Yi Mo was really happy this time because he had made extreme grade pills. It was just 5 pills, but Yi Mo believed that he could make more and more in the future. Yi Mo had understood now why the pills he made before were at most top grade and middle grade. It was due to his lack of a good flame. Having made the Cow Huan pill meant that Yi Mo officially had become a level 1 pill king. However, Yi Mo knew that he could even make level 3 heaven grade pills. Afterwards, Yi Mo made a cauldron for the essence pills and 5 cauldrons for the spirit recovery pill. Then, he packed his cauldron away. He was ready to leave. Yi Mo made 6 essence pills and 6 pills per cauldron for the spirit recovery pills. Yi Mo truly felt his progress. He burned down all of the clothes he was wearing and changed into a new set. Then, he took off 9 transformations and left all of his valuable things in the Golden Page world before going out. However, just when Yi Mo was ready to go out, he realized that he was testing his luck doing this. What if he happened to be on the radar of the 2 hollow spirit state cultivators' spirit sense when he came out? A hollow spirit state cultivator didn't lack patience. They wouldn't mind searching the area for a few years, much less a month. Thinking about this, Yi Mo decided to release Shadowless first, who would carry the Golden Page world, and run. Shadowless was his spirit insect and he could see the outside world through Shadowless. It wasn't the best method, But it was much safer than before. There were countless bugs like shadowless in the barren wilderness. It should be no problem as long as it didn't get scanned by their spirit sense. When shadowless got out of the Golden Page world, Emo immediately felt a faint sense of danger. He suddenly understood that it was a smart move to do this. Although he didn't know where the danger came from, he could tell that he would be over if he came out. After sensing the danger, Emo was very careful and didn't ask Shadowless to be very fast. It had been almost 10 days and Shadowless had only taken him more or less 40,000 kilometers away from before. That faint sense of danger seemed to be dissipating. But just when Emo was thinking it was about time and that they were ready to charge home at full speed, he had the sense of danger again. He didn't dare to ignore it. Ever since cultivating the 3-birth chant, his sensitivity to everything was far more acute than before. He told Shadowless to stop. He didn't dare be careless in front of a hollow spirit state cultivator at all. He used shadowless eyes and looked around for 2 hours before stopping by a tree. He had understood what it was. 1 kilometer ahead, there was a hidden restriction that recorded one's movements. Once he crossed this restriction, his actions would be recorded. Emo saw this and he couldn't help to exclaim. The hollow spirit state cultivator had such powerful means. Such large restrictions needed countless spirit stones. However, Emo was sure that there was no way that they had actually made a restriction with a perimeter of 50,000 kilometers. There might be blank spots on some places, but Emo didn't try to look for them. What if he went into a place with an even more obscure restriction? He might as well try to leave through it there. However, Emo still told Shadowless to walk around. This allowed him to understand how determined the 2 hollow spirit state cultivators were in finding him. Tens of thousands of kilometers around him had been filled with recording restrictions. If they noticed him at all, the 2 hollow spirit state cultivator would appear in front of him at any time. Emo could feel the cold sweat. He had been so close. If he hadn't used Shadowless to roam around for him, perhaps he would have been caught by those 2 cunning hollow spirit state cultivators by now. A day later, Emo made Shadowless walk through the restriction. Shadowless quickly flew 20,000 kilometers. Emo was sure that the place they were at was out of their surveillance range. Thus, he came out of the Golden Page world and got on the flying pike. A few more days later, Emo went through the teleportation formation and returned to River State City. By then, Emo had been gone for 2 months. Even Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were so worried that they weren't in the mood to cultivate. Seeing Emo come back, everyone came up to him with joy. When he saw their faces, Emo realized how dangerous the things he had done before were. If something had happened to him, his wife and sister's fate would be like his or worse. Chapter 885, Wanting to Leave. Chapter 885, Wanting to leave. Emo saw Zhen Xiaoshan and said in surprise, "Sister Zhen, you're already at Golden Core State?" Before she could reply, Song Yangzhu said, Sister Zhen had been at Golden Core State for half a month. Manager Yang came over to send his goodwill. Even the city lord did so too. Zhen Xiaoshan's eyes were red as she said excitedly, "Brother Yi, thank you. If it wasn't for you, perhaps I would have never been able to reach Golden Core State myself." Zhen Xiaoshan came from a medium-sized cultivation family. However, since her grandfather, her relative's talent had been ordinary. Her father's talent had been even more ordinary and he hadn't even been able to enjoy the family's resources. Her father had been sent out to do business, but after a tragedy, both her parents died. The reason she had 2 million spirit stones was because she has inherited the savings of 3 generations just so that one day, their branch could have a Golden Core State cultivator. Zhen Xiaoshan felt deeply grateful to Emo. Emo was also happy for her and nodded. "Sister Zhen, it's your fortune that you could reach Golden Core State. I just helped a little." Zhen Xiaoshan shook her head. "I know me. I won't say much, thank you. China Pharmaceuticals is my family from now on." Okay, Emo had been waiting for that. "Sister Zhen, you won't regret your decision. Don't worry, when I leave in half a year, I will bring you back the best magic artifact. Why don't you choose one from the Immortal Treasure Tower for now?" Zhen Xiaoshan smiled. "Thanks, but Manager Yang already sent me a low-grade spirit artifact. I don't really anything else for now. Yimo didn't agree. A low-grade spirit artifact was good, but he felt that people from China Pharmaceuticals should be using the best magic artifacts. Yimo had been to the shop in River State City and the Immortal Treasure Tower had the best pills there, yet they had no high-level spirit artifacts. After some thought, Yimo decided to make a sword for himself first. When he went to Broken Leaf City, he would go to a bigger magic artifact shop. When he noticed Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong looking very envious, Yimo said, "If you two work hard in cultivation, you won't have to worry about the foundation establishment pill either. By the way, where are Sun Jitsai and Sister Li?" Martial brother Sun had some business at home, so he went back for now. Master is still in solitary cultivation, Yiling said. Yimo nodded. He wanted the two women to go cultivate, but Yiling said, "Brother, Sun Jitsai said that manager Yang seemed to have had an argument with someone before he came to congratulate Sister Jin. Your name seemed to have been mentioned." Yimo was dazed. He was a spirit pill master, thus Yang Zheng looked favorably upon him. He also believed he hadn't made Yang Zheng lose out on the deal. His 70% success rate was better than most people. Other than the land, he didn't owe Yang Zheng anything. Song Yangzhu said, "Husband, Yang Zheng's dad is an elder of the Immortal Treasure Tower, so he has quite some power there. However, apparently his decision of giving us the land made another manager very unhappy. It's said that the two elders have fought over this countless times. The other manager wasn't happy that Yang Zheng was the tower's representative to congratulate Sister Yang, so due to this, Yang Zheng had to pay for the spirit artifact himself." Yimo frowned. "How does Sun Jitsai know about this?" Song Yangzhu replied, "He has a friend that's a waiter at the Immortal Treasure Tower and his friend overheard their argument." Yimo fell silent. The reason he could stay there safely was mostly due to Yang Zheng's support. Without Yang Zheng's support, there was no point in staying there. For the first time, Yimo felt how bad it was to live under someone. When he had been at Luoyu City, he was free and did what he wanted. He didn't need to look at others for survival. Power. Without power, he couldn't get his own land. Without his own land, he would forever live under someone else. For the first time, Yimo wanted to leave River State City. Without the support of the Immortal Treasure Tower, even though China Pharmaceuticals had 2 golden core state cultivators, they couldn't take on the all-pill tower. Go cultivate first. Try to reach foundation establishment state as quickly as possible. I'll go visit Sister Li. Yimo really wanted to know if she had reached golden core state primary stage. Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling worked very hard and they were also very talented. It had only been 2 months and they were already at stage 8 Kai gathering. In less than a year, they should be able to reach foundation establishment state. After they left, Yimo thought in his room for a while and decided to go see Li Yuqian first. If in 2 months, Li Yuqian could reach nascent soul state, he would go to Broken Leaf City alone to participate in the pill concoction tournament. But if she couldn't, he would take everyone to go with him. "Sister Li, are you done?" Li Yuqian suddenly saw him. When Yimo's spirit sense scanned her power, he said in joy, "Sister Li, you're at golden core state primary stage?" Li Yuqian was very happy that she had reached golden core state primary stage. Yet when Yimo said it, she was quite shook. Yimo was a mere foundation establishment state level 6 cultivator, but he could see her power level. However, she felt it was normal after thinking about it. He was very young and already a pill king. Yimo said desperately, "Sister Li, this is the Cow Huan pill. When will you be able to develop your nascent soul? I'll help you stay on guard." "Did you really make the Cow Huan pill?" Li Yuqian believed that Yimo was a pill king, but she was still shook when the pill appeared before her eyes. Yimo nodded. "Yes, I promised you so and I will live up to it." Li Yuqian grabbed the pill shakily. After a while, she calmed down and accepted the pill. "Thank you. However, my mental state right now isn't suitable for forming the nascent soul. It'll take half a month to prepare myself. I'll go for it at the end of the month." Yimo knew what she was worried about. She had just reached golden core state primary stage. Without enough foundation and preparation, she might lose her power or even her life in the wake of the nascent soul state heavenly punishment. Yimo said, Sister Li, if you trust me, I can protect you. That nascent soul state heavenly punishment should be no big deal. A cultivator could only have their first heavenly punishment after reaching nascent soul state. This heavenly punishment was called the 4-9 lightning punishment. There were 36 strikes of lightning. Yimo dared to say this because he knew that lightning was a huge nourishment to him and a good source of lightning cultivation resource. He wanted to weaken Li Yuqian's lightning punishment by devouring it. Hearing this, Li Yuqian stared at Yimo for a long while before saying, You're not thinking of helping me block the lightning punishment, right? You must face it yourself. Other people can't intervene, don't you know? Yimo touched his head awkwardly. He really hadn't known. Still, his method wasn't directly helping. Chapter 886, Forming a Nascent Soul. Chapter 886, Forming a Nascent Soul. Half a month later, on a plain 2,000 kilometers away from River State City, Yimo was working on laying down the formation to help Li Yuqian face the heavenly punishment. Although Li Yuqian didn't think Yimo could help her, she still agreed to let Yimo build a defense formation and a spirit gathering formation for her. Yimo wasn't just laying down a defense formation. He was mainly setting up a lightning attraction formation and a lightning storage formation. Ever since that lightning rune had made him ascend a level, Yimo had been looking for a source of lightning. Thus, he wasn't going to let this opportunity go. He made a storage formation just in case the lightning was too strong and he would be blown to pieces before he could absorb it all. I'm going to start. Li Yuqian saw that Yimo was ready and said. She had done all the preparation she could. If she still couldn't overcome the heavenly punishment, then it was fated to be so. Li Yuqian was very calm. Yimo quickly stepped back to the eye of the lightning attraction formation. He had calculated the range of the heavenly punishment. At the same time, he was aware that the eye of the formation happened to be at the border of the heavenly punishment. He believed he wouldn't catch the attention of the heavenly punishment with his foundation establishment state level 6 power. Zhen Xiaoshan looked around anxiously, waiting for the heavenly punishment to arrive. Although she didn't know why Yimo was so close to her and he might even be in the range of the heavenly punishment, Li Yuqian didn't have the time to worry about it. She took the cow horn pill and in the charge of a tidal wave of spirit Kai, her golden core rustled. All the spirit Kai in the region seemed to have gathered over there, forming a huge whirlpool in the air. Li Yuqian had never been taught about the experience of forming a nascent soul, so she could only keep using her cultivation method to devour spirit Kai. Yimo and Zhen Xiaoshan were shook when they saw the big reaction. They noticed that the spirit Kai around them seemed to have solidified. They knew that it would benefit them greatly to cultivate now, but none of them dared to. They were afraid to influence Li Yuqian's nascent soul development. Li Yuqian just kept devouring spirit Kai. All of the spirit Kai in a 1,000 kilometers radius swept down there. The huge spirit Kai swirl immediately caught countless people's attention. All of them got on their flying swords and arrived at where Li Yuqian was. The city lord, Zhong Chengfeng, was sipping a cup of tea when his face suddenly changed. He immediately flew above the city. He could tell that it was no ordinary cultivation what he felt. Someone's forming a nascent soul? Is it Lu Jiucheng? Is he really forming a nascent soul? He subconsciously said. Then, he flew towards the spirit Kai whirlpool. Inside the Immortal Treasure Tower, Yang Zheng and the other managers also got news of this and rushed towards the place immediately. At the All-Pill Tower, Peng Shiping stood up in shock. Who was forming a nascent soul? Was it Boss Lu? That was impossible. He had just gotten news not long ago that Boss Lu was still in solitary cultivation. It wasn't long until they were surrounded by cultivators, watching outside of Yimo's formation. Zhen Xiaoshan began to worry, seeing that more and more people came. Yimo regretted not having chosen a farther place. It was too close to River State City. But soon he calmed down. There weren't a lot of powerful cultivator nearby. The highest level person there was just a golden core state cultivator. If he went further away and attracted a stronger cultivator, then things might have gone worse. Thinking about this, Yimo got up and saluted the cultivators around. He said, Today, China Pharmaceuticals Elder is forming her nascent soul. Dao friends, if you want to watch this event, please stay outside, 1 kilometer away from the formation. Otherwise, it will be considered a taunt to China Pharmaceuticals. Most people that heard this hadn't expected that China Pharmaceuticals had a cultivator about to form a nascent soul. A nascent soul state cultivator's power was very influential. Although Li Yuqian hadn't reached nascent soul state yet, no one wanted to offend a potential nascent soul state, so no one went near them. They all watched from outside of the formation. I really didn't expect that China Pharmaceuticals would soon have a nascent soul state Qianbei. I heard they've only been around for half a year. PFFFT some months ago, there was a Qianbei from China Pharmaceuticals who reached golden core state. No way. How is China Pharmaceuticals so strong? They sell pills, so they have a lot of them. But do you think core-forming and soul-forming pills are cheap? Even the all-pill tower might not have them. The cultivators discussed, but no one dared come up and ask Yi Mo and Jin Xiaoshan. Most of them were at Kai Gathering, some at Foundation Establishment State and very few at Golden Core State. Ha 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 ha. Congratulations, Pill Master Yi. I didn't expect it was someone from China Pharmaceuticals who is forming a nascent soul. Zhong Chengfeng heard Yi Mo's words as soon as he arrived, so he was very shook. However, he still smiled and greeted him. Yi Mo knew what sort of a person that guy was. He had taken his face-preserving pill and hadn't done anything. He didn't even put a good word for China Pharmaceuticals, much less do something. This person was very realistic and heartless, and nobody could see what he was truly thinking. Yang Zheng had genuinely went to congratulate them. He approved of Yi Mo's pill concoction skills, but he indeed wanted China Pharmaceuticals to get stronger. If China Pharmaceuticals had a nascent soul state cultivator, then even the all-pill tower wouldn't dare to easily offend China Pharmaceuticals. The power of a nascent soul state wasn't something ordinary cultivators could compare with. Moreover, in River State, Golden Core State was the strongest power. Peng Shiping looked at this coldly. He had wanted to wait for Boss Lu to finish solitary cultivation and then devour China Pharmaceuticals. Yet a month ago, they had gotten a Golden Core State cultivator and now they were about to have a nascent soul state cultivator. If this continued, how could the all-pill tower deal with China Pharmaceuticals? Li Yuqian knew quite a lot of people that had come, but she had to focus on herself. Her golden core seemed to have expanded to its maximum. Just when she didn't know what to do, her golden core started to crack. Li Yuqian rejoiced. She knew that core cracking was a compulsory step towards nascent soul state. Suddenly, the spirit Kai whirlpool grew even bigger. Li Yuqian devoured all of the spirit Kai, she felt like she needed more. Yi Mo was shook. He hadn't thought a nascent soul state cultivator needed this much spirit Kai. Li Yuqian also felt the lack of spirit Kai, but she knew now wasn't when she would need the most spirit Kai. Once her cracked core slowly progressed to a soul, then she would truly need a titanic amount of spirit Kai. However, she couldn't think about that much right now. She threw all of her spirit stones into the formation. She was grateful to Yi Mo. Without that spirit gathering formation, she would have failed already. Yi Mo saw this and so did Zhong Chengfeng, Yang Zheng and Peng Shiping. Peng Shiping sneered. They hadn't even prepared enough spirit stones, yet they were trying to form a nascent soul. The naive were really fearless. But he was happy, he wanted Li Yuqian to fail. Yi Mo calmed down. He still had 800,000 middle-grade spirit stones and 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. He was going to pour all these into the formation later on. Chapter 887, Heavenly Punishment. Chapter 887, Heavenly Punishment. Although Yi Mo knew that Zhong Chengfeng had large amounts of spirit stones, he didn't ask to borrow any. If Zhong Chengfeng wanted to lend him some, he would take them out himself. If he hadn't taken the initiative and he borrowed from him, he would offend that bleak man. Moreover, Yi Mo knew that Zhong Chengfeng would never want them to succeed. Yang Zheng would lend him, but Yi Mo didn't ask him. Yang Zheng was just at Foundation Establishment State Tertiary stage. He wouldn't have much. However, Yang Zheng walked up to Yi Mo and gave him a bag. Use these first. If you don't have enough, I'll go get some more. Yi Mo looked at the bag and found there were 50,000 top-grade spirit stones. Mo was shook. He was just a manager, how did he have that many? Brother Yang, thank you. Mo will repay your kindness for sure. Mo took the spirit stones. Then, he glanced and saw Zhong Chengfeng casually chatting with another golden core state cultivator, as though not seeing Yang Zheng's destitution. Mo sneered. He had given him a face-preserving pill for nothing. Yang Zheng smiled. He was just about to say something when he heard a sneer. Manager Yang, you used the Immortal Treasure Tower's spirit stones to give to people. Hee. You're bold. Yang Zheng frowned. Manager Pei, it's my own earnings that I'm giving to Brother Yi. Is there a problem with that? Mo saw the man talking. It was a fat-faced pig-like man, he had a pot belly and triangular eyes. It was very dislikable to look at him. He was definitely the ugliest guy Mo had seen. Manager Pei saw Mo look at him and sneered contemptuously. Really? How come did I hear that China Pharmaceuticals' land was given to them personally by Manager Yang? Did I hear this wrong? Is that land Manager Yang's private belonging? Yang Zheng had lost face in front of Mo, and he reproached, I gave it to him, so what? Pei Yu, what right do you have to question my decision? Pei Yu laughed bleakly. I'm afraid of people selling us out. Perhaps one day that person's supporting pillar might fall. I want to see how that person will stay cocky then. Yang Zheng ignored him and saluted Mo apologetically. Sorry, Brother Yi. Mo smiled calmly. Don't worry, Brother Yang. I won't mind a barking dog. Pei Yu heard this and his expression sunk. He wanted to say something, but he got interrupted by Mo. Mo didn't even look at him and said to Zhen Xiaoshan, Sister Zhen, kill those who go more than 1 kilometer into the formation immediately. I'm going to check on Sister Li. When Mo went inside the formation again, Zhong Chengfeng's eyes followed Mo. His face still had a glamorous smile, as though he was happy for Li Yuqian. After throwing in her spirit stones, Li Yuqian felt an adequate amount of spirit Kai again. Her cracked core had started to form the shape of a nascent soul. Mo saw that the spirit Kai whirl above her was growing larger and larger. He knew she was at a crucial moment and needed large amounts of spirit Kai. Without hesitation, he threw all of his spirit stones, including the ones Yang Zheng had given him, into the spirit-gathering formation. Everyone exclaimed when they saw Mo suddenly take out so many spirit stones. It wasn't much for a golden core state cultivator, but for a foundation establishment state cultivator, it was a huge fortune. Zhong Chengfeng's expression, which seemed calm before, suddenly changed. He knew Yang Zheng had given his spirit stones to Mo, but he hadn't expected Mo to have this many spirit stones himself. Was China Pharmaceuticals this lucrative? Zhong Chengfeng felt like he needed to research about China Pharmaceuticals a little more. Feeling the sudden increase of spirit stones, Li Yuqian looked at Mo and nodded. She was very grateful. It's not that she hadn't prepared, but she had limited financial power. Rumble the spirit Kai whirlpool shook, as though lightning was shaking amidst it. Everyone knew the heavenly punishment was about to come. Mo quickly went back to the lightning attraction formation and sat down. Everyone saw that Mo wasn't leaving the nascent soul state heavenly punishment and looked at him in shock. Li Yuqian was expressionless as she waved her hand and a blue light sword appeared above her head. She moved and an aqua spirit armor appeared on her body. Mo rejoiced. He hadn't expected her to have prepared a low-grade spirit artifact armor. It was good news, her flying sword was even a top-grade spirit artifact. Mo nodded. Crack crack 9 chopstick-sized lightning rays struck down accurately on Li Yuqian and her flying sword. Mo didn't use his lightning attraction formation yet. He knew that she had to deal with the first 3 waves of lightning herself. His formation could only attract lightning once for the nascent soul state heavenly punishment. After the first wave of 9 lightning rays, Li Yuqian's hair had gotten messy, but her spirit armor had only cracked a little. It seemed like she had easily dealt with the first wave. Li Yuqian was very happy. She had some faith in passing the 4-9 heavenly punishment. The second wave was slower than the first. After about 15 minutes of preparation, 9 thumb-sized lightning rays struck down. Rumble rumble, it seemed like it wanted smash Li Yuqian into the earth. Mo began to worry. He hadn't expected the second wave to be this much stronger than the first. Yimo noticed a burning smell amidst the blue light. Li Yuqian's hair had burnt to a crisp. Her low-grade spirit artifact armor had cracked like cobweb. Yimo was sure that the armor couldn't stop the third wave. Immediately, the third wave came down. Its rays were also thumb-sized. But this time, it didn't struck down as 9 rays, 1 lightning bolt struck down first. Crack! The spirit artifact broke and then the remaining 8 bolts of lightning followed. Li Yuqian's expression changed and she immediately rose her flying sword. Rumble! Li Yuqian spat blood. Her flying sword had been shattered completely, just like her armor. Yimo's heart sunk. Although she had passed 3 waves, her armor and flying sword were gone. Could she still pass the 4th and strongest wave? Everyone had seen the terrifying power of the 3 waves of lightning. Some weak-hearted people had lost their confidence in cultivation. However, the 4th wave seemed to have gotten delayed for a long time. Li Yuqian took multiple pills and ran her cultivation method to speed up the soul formation. Suddenly, everyone saw Li Yuqian's face look very strange. Yimo wondered whether the 4th wave, Heart Heavenly Punishment, was coming now. However, after 45 minutes, Li Yuqian suddenly howled and took out a grey shield and another spirit artifact flying sword. But this one was only a middle-grade spirit artifact. When Yimo saw the shield, he breathed at ease. It seemed she was more prepared than he thought. Zhong Chengfeng, who was sneering on the side, saw this and his expression also changed. Suddenly, the serene sky struck down 3 lightning bolts without warning. The first 3 bolts together were already stronger than the third wave. Li Yuqian's shield had already started to crack and so was her flying sword. Li Yuqian's expression changed drastically. She hadn't expected it to be this strong. Before she could rest, another 3 bolts struck down. Crack! Zhong Chengfeng saw Li Yuqian's shield and flying sword turn into pieces and he breathed at ease. She wasn't going to survive the last bolts. Rumble! Yimo saw her getting smashed into the ground and was shook. He immediately activated the lightning attraction formation. Without his help, Li Yuqian would never be able to block the last 3 bolts. Chapter 888, Black and White Semi-Pill King. Chapter 888, Black and White Semi-Pill King. Li Yuqian's face flashed a sliver of despair. She was sure that she couldn't block the last 3 bolts, despite her body rapidly getting stronger. Rumble! 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 The last 3 bolts didn't stop at all. Li Yuqian used all of her cultivation essence to block them. She knew that if she failed, she wouldn't die. However, the shattering of her nascent soul might lower her power to foundation establishment state. But soon, she was surprised to see that although the 3 bolts looked fearsome, they weren't even as strong as the first one. They disappeared after causing some light wounds on her. Without thinking, Li Yuqian immediately sat up to gather spirit Kai and form her nascent soul. The moment the last 3 bolts struck down, Yimo spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. His formation had succeeded, but he had overestimated his tolerance. He felt that the lightning was about to annihilate his body. He was shook, so he used the 3-birth chant like crazy. At the same time, he wondered if his lightning storage formation had failed. Thus, Spirit Kai rushed to Yimo like crazy, but he couldn't care about it anymore. He knew that the more he cultivated, the less the lightning would affect him. With this, the lightning sparks circulating Yimo's body grew fainter and fainter. Yimo rested at ease. When he completely devoured all the lightning, he felt even more lightning getting devoured by him from another source. Yimo understood now that his lighting storage formation hadn't failed. There had just been too much power in the last 3 bolts and the formation couldn't store it. Yimo believed that the formation might have even exploded if he hadn't used his 3-birth chant to keep devouring it. Yimo rejoiced for his carefulness. If he hadn't used the storage formation, the lightning would have ripped him apart straight away. Li Yuqian had attracted large amounts of spirit Kai and Yimo was inside this field. This benefited him greatly. While absorbing countless lightning rays, Yimo felt his cultivation essence grow at a rapid rate. The cultivators looked at the 2 spirit Kai whirlpools in shock. After some time, Yimo felt his meridians rumble. He had broken through once again. Yimo opened his eyes in joy. He was at Foundation Establishment State Level 7 now. Foundation Establishment State Tertiary Stage. 3 months ago, he had just reached Stage 6. There was just one level difference, but the power difference was huge. It was the difference between middle stage and tertiary stage. Yimo immediately looked at Li Yuqian's situation. However, she immediately told him, "Congratulations on reaching Foundation Establishment State Tertiary Stage. I've formed my nascent soul, thank you. You're at nascent soul state cultivator now." Yimo looked at Li Yuqian. Her cultivation essence seemed to have life now. She was indeed a nascent soul state cultivator. Li Yuqian nodded. She tried to control her emotions, but her eyes showed the joy of having reached nascent soul state. She hadn't thought a mere Foundation Establishment State cultivator like Yimo could make her have such big life changes in half a year. Where is everyone?" Yimo saw that the cultivators watching were all gone. Li Yuqian smiled. "I told them to leave. I told Xiaoshan to go back first. I'm protecting you here, don't worry." Yimo breathed at ease. A nascent soul state cultivator had the power indeed to give orders. He hadn't seen what happened, but thinking about Zhong Chengfeng running away, Yimo felt very satisfied. In fact, Zhong Chengfeng felt things hadn't gone as he expected when Yimo went in. Indeed, shortly after, Li Yuqian's powerful nascent soul state Kai rose. She just said, "All irrelevant people leave now or die." Hence, Zhong Chengfeng had to leave. He knew that if he wanted to get his face back, he needed help from his family's Qianbei. He couldn't deal with a nascent soul state cultivator himself. When Yimo and Li Yuqian came back to China Pharmaceuticals and the entire city were heated up. News of China Pharmaceuticals having a nascent soul state had soon gotten out. Many people had to come to congratulate them, and so did Zhong Chengfeng. Nascent soul state was the highest power in River State City. China Pharmaceuticals business got huge after getting a golden core state and nascent soul state cultivators consecutively. Yimo had to concoct pills non-stop for half a month teach Sun Jitsai without reserves. Yimo could finally feel secure since China Pharmaceuticals now had a nascent soul state cultivator. He had decided to focus on preparing for the Desert Herb Valley after getting the spot. Yimo wanted to go for 2 reasons. One was to pay back Yang Zheng, and the second was for the large amounts of precious spirit herbs there. Half a month later, Yimo handed China Pharmaceuticals over to Li Yuqian. He taught her the primordial chaos chant before leaving River State City with Yang Zheng. Broken Leaf City was near the Heartless Sea. It was more than millions of kilometers away from River State. Yang Zheng and Yimo took nearly half a month to get there using flying spirit artifacts and teleportation formations. The 2 cultivators had been together for half a month. Yang Zheng's attitude to him was the same, but Yimo felt he was a little worried. However, Yimo couldn't really ask. They had a good relationship now, but it was based on profit. Broken Leaf City was much bigger than River State City. Its spirit Kai was also much denser. One thing that caught Yimo's attention was that there were too many golden core state cultivators there. He could only occasionally see a golden core state cultivator in River State City. Yet there, they were everywhere. He could also frequently see a nascent soul state cultivator and sometimes even someone at hollow spirit state. When a dark-faced cultivator appeared before Yimo's eyes, he subconsciously wanted to run. It was that hollow spirit state middle stage cultivator, Tong Wusheng. He hadn't expected that guy to have gone there too. He didn't know if that old man, Sima Zhu, was also here. Seeing Yimo's strange behavior, Yang Zheng said to Yimo, "Broken Leaf City is about to hold the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament. Many famous people are coming over. The one who just passed by is a black and white semi-pill king, Tong Qianbei." "A black and white semi-pill king?" Yimo subconsciously asked. Yang Zheng nodded. Tong Qianbei and Sima Qianbei are both level 9 spirit pill masters. They're just one step from Pill King, so people call them semi-pill king. Chapter 889, Complications. Chapter 889, Complications. They're also participating in the tournament. Yimo asked in shock. It would be really hard for ordinary people to rank well if these masters were coming. Yang Zheng shook his head. Of course, Tong Qianbei isn't here for the tournament. He's a part of the Pill Association. He's probably here as a judge. Those who participate in the tournament must be less than 300 years old. Tong Qianbei is already more than 800 years old. By the way, is your master at Broken Leaf City already? If possible, I would like to go meet him. Yang Zheng thought Yi Mo's master was already there, since he promised that he could get a good ranking. Yi Mo smiled awkwardly and said, Brother Yang, I haven't contacted my master yet. I meant to say that I will be partaking the tournament. What? Yang Zheng looked at Yi Mo in shock. He said with a stutter, Brother Yi, although I said a level 6 spirit pill master has hope, but Yang Zheng was comforting Yi Mo. It was impossible for a level 6 to get into top 10. If Yi Mo's master really wasn't coming, then it was over. Yi Mo knew what he meant. In Yang Zheng's eyes, there weren't many level 6 spirit pill masters, but it was easy for them to find them. Yi Mo patted his shoulder. Brother Yang, don't worry. I can make level 7 spirit pills. Hearing this, Yang Zheng didn't seem surprised or joyful at all. Level 6 spirit pill masters could also make level 7 spirit pills with luck. Yang Zheng sighed. He was just about to talk when he suddenly took out a communication bead. He looked at it and said to Yi Mo in a hurry, Brother Yi, find a hotel to stay. I will come for you later. Then he stuffed Yi Mo a communication bead and quickly left, disappearing into the crowd. There were spirit sense inhibition restrictions, so spirit sense couldn't be scanned out at all. Thus, everyone used communication beads there, but it had a limited distance. Yi Mo shook his hand and put the bead away. However, he had a bad feeling. He had felt Yang Zheng's concern on the way there. When he told him that the one going to the tournament wasn't his master, he seemed even more worried. Moreover, he hadn't taken him to the Immortal Treasure Tower's place, but instead told him to find a place himself. Things didn't look so simple. Broken Leaf City's prosperity and rich resources were far from what River State City could compare with. Yi Mo was sure that there was something he needed here. Perhaps he could buy the sword he wanted. Yet immediately, Yi Mo realized that he had very few spirit stones with him, only about 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones. And not just that, he still owed Yang Zheng 50,000 top-grade spirit stones. Yi Mo no longer was in the mood to shop around. Yi Mo just went to a distant corner and found a cheap hotel. Yi Mo was afraid that the Tong black-faced man would come. He was wealthy and powerful, so he would be staying at the best place. Therefore, Yi Mo went to a cheap place to stay away from him. The Immortal Treasure Tower's HQ weren't in this city, but the branch there wasn't small. It was much bigger than the one at River State. There were multitudes of businesses and powers in this city. Hence, the Immortal Treasure Tower wasn't very outstanding. When Yang Zheng went into the Immortal Treasure Tower, he clearly felt the atmosphere was different. Yang Zheng, why did you just come now? The elders are having a meeting. You need to go in immediately, another manager said desperately to Yang Zheng. Yang Zheng nodded. I know. He hesitated, wanting to ask if his uncle was there. However, the manager turned away to leave immediately, as though not wanting to stay there an extra second. Yang Zheng didn't dare to chase after him and ask. He walked quickly into the meeting room. As soon as he went inside, he felt the tension even more. Yang Zheng saw the 8 elders and a middle-aged man sitting at the top. He was shook even more. Even the big manager of the Immortal Treasure Tower had come. The big manager of the Immortal Treasure Tower was so powerful that he was the #1 person under the owner. He hadn't imagined that the higher-ups had sent 8 elders and even the big manager this time. There were only 12 elders in the Immortal Treasure Tower. However, he saw that his uncle had come too, and his uncle signaled him to calm down. Yang Zheng quickly bowed. The Immortal Treasure Tower River State Branch, Yang Zheng greet big manager and 8 elders. Then, Yang Zheng carefully stood behind his uncle. His uncle Yang Jun was an elder. However, although Yang Ju was Yang Zheng's uncle, Yang Zheng called him father because his parents had given him to Yang Jun to be his son. Yang Jun nodded and didn't speak. Elder Yang, now that Yang Zheng is here, I believe the pill master he spoke of should be here too? How come I don't see him? A sharp voice sounded. Yang Jun ignored that pill master and looked at Yang Zheng. Yang Zheng started sweating. He could feel this elder was targeting his uncle. He didn't know how to answer. Xiao Zheng, since Elder Feng asked, tell him. The master of a level 6 spirit pill master is a pill master indeed. Yang Jun's tone was calm. Yes, very well, but no matter how good he is, we should see him at least. Otherwise, how do we know if people aren't making up stories? I also heard that manager Yang did quite a lot of things at River State City, giving tens of thousands of SQM of land to someone for free. Although our immortal treasure tower doesn't cherish such a small parcel of land, it should have been accepted first, right? If everyone does that casually, then the future of the immortal treasure tower is truly concerning, the elder sneered. Feng Jipeng, what are you trying to say? In a place like River State City, is it too much to hire a level 6 spirit pill master for that land? Yang Jun's expression sunk. Yang Zheng had understood. This elder Feng wanted to get his uncle in trouble. The land wasn't small, but it was nothing to the immortal treasure tower. Okay, stop arguing. Yang Zheng, tell me, how confident are you in his master? If possible, let him come here to make a level 7 spirit pill, the big manager spoke. Yang Zheng's heart sunk. It was a small thing, but his uncle's opponent would pick on anything. Although he had heard Yi Mo say he was very confident, Yang Zheng felt Yi Mo was desperate to get his help. What worried him even more was that even though it was his uncle managing the spots for the tournament, why was big manager involved now? He didn't dare to hide anything from the big manager. He took a step forward and bowed before saying, we arranged for his master to come, but his master was caught up and so only he can come to the tournament for us. Yang Zheng didn't dare to say Yi Mo was a level 7 spirit pill master. He didn't believe Yi Mo's words. Chapter 890, Sudden Turn. Chapter 890, Sudden Turn. Yang Zheng's words made the scene fall into silence. After a moment, Feng Jipeng laughed out loud. There's no way a young man can be a level 6 spirit pill master, and even if he is, you want him to represent our immortal treasure tower to go to the tournament. Elder Yang, you're really ingenious. Perhaps you're right, before the end of the tournament, our immortal treasure tower could very well become famous. Yang Jun's face sunk, and he didn't talk. He knew what Feng Jipeng meant. If there was a mere level 6 spirit pill master in Immortal Treasure Tower's team, people would know that the Immortal Treasure Tower had no power. They would not only laugh at them, but it could even adversely affect their business. Yang Zheng wasn't dumb, but the Immortal Treasure Tower had never taken the tournament this seriously before. Yet this time, even the big manager and the other elders had come. There were also other recommendations for the Immortal Treasure Tower's participation in the tournament. There were 5 in total. Even the big manager's face looked bad after this. He looked coldly at Yang Jun and said, Elder Yang, the tournament is important. Elder Feng will deal with the tournament matters now. This time, the Hall of Fame suddenly added bonus rewards for the top 10, so you must get a top 10 spot no matter the cost. Then, he looked at Yang Zheng, you can let go of the River State branch. HQ will send someone else there. Yang Zheng's heart sunk as he knew he had impacted his uncle. He was kicked out of River State, and his uncle was in some trouble too. He had thought that if the person he recommended got into the top 10, his uncle would benefit from it, yet a problem occurred instead. Yang Jun didn't rebuke as he got up. Yes, big manager. Yang Zheng could only say, yes, I'll arrange the handover immediately. Big manager waved his hand. No need, a new manager will be arranged. You may leave for now. As Yi Mo stayed in the hotel, he was a little worried. He didn't have the mood to cultivate, and he wouldn't improve much in the next few days anyway. There were 3 days left until the tournament, yet he still hadn't gotten any news from Yang Zheng. Just when he didn't know what to do, Yang Zheng sent news, and soon, he arrived. Yi Mo saw Yang Zheng's face was bad and looked dejected. Brother Yi, why are you staying in such a distant place? Yang Zheng knew Yi Mo didn't have a lot of spirit stones, but he could definitely stay somewhere better. Yi Mo waved his hand and said, Brother Yang, what happened? You seemed worried before and now things seem even more serious than I thought. Yang Zheng didn't hide it. He sighed and said, "Sorry Brother Yi, the tournament." He didn't explain why. Even if he did, Yi Mo wouldn't be able to help him. As Yi Mo heard this, he was disappointed, but he had expected it. He didn't ask why either. He patted Yang Zheng's shoulder and said, "Brother Yang, I know it isn't your fault, I'm still very grateful to you." Seeing that Yang Zheng seemed to feel guilty, Yi Mo smiled and said, "Brother Yang, would I be able to enter the tournament myself?" Yang Zheng shook his head, "It's possible, but you have to sign up a month before for that. Now there's only 3 days until the tournament." After sending off Yang Zheng, Yi Mo was still thinking about how to go to the tournament. Yi Mo started feeling annoyed. If he couldn't go to the tournament, he wouldn't be able to go to the desert herb valley to get rare spirit herbs either. Then, his pill concoction skills would be of no use. Yi Mo felt he shouldn't just accept his fate. He walked out and asked for the sign-up location. He didn't want to give up just like that. If there really was no way, he would think of a way to pay Yang Zheng his spirit stones back and then leave River State with his people. Yi Mo didn't take long to find the sign-up area. Although only 3 days were left before the tournament, when Yi Mo came he found out that there was still 1 more day left for signing up. Yi Mo touched his level 6 Spirit Pill Master badge and was grateful to Yang Zheng. Without him, he wouldn't even have this. A shy-looking girl was at the sign-up place, and her face was clean and pretty, giving people a good impression. Yi Mo squeezed in and took out his badge. "Little sister, I want to sign up for the tournament. Can I still sign up now?" The little girl was dazed and blushed. "Please wait a bit, Marshal Brother Kui will be here soon, you can ask him." "Friend, may I ask if you're here to sign up for the pill concoction tournament?" A middle-aged man's voice interrupted Yi Mo's thoughts. Yi Mo turned around and looked at this middle-aged man. He had an average build and distinct facial features. He had a scar on his chin. However, he was only at the Foundation Establishment State Level 9. There were 4 people behind him, among which a dark-faced young girl, a youth of medium build and an old man. Yi Mo glanced at the old man a few times. He was at the Golden Core State Primary stage, but his Kai and blood were weak. Yi Mo could tell the old man was almost at his age limit. "Can I help you?" Yi Mo studied the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man saluted with his fist. "I'm Mu Yiqing. If you're not representing a sect, friend, then I'm afraid it's too late for you to sign up now." Yi Mo hesitated and said, "I am indeed representing myself." The little girl heard this and seemed to have woken up. "Aya, sorry, Mu Qianbei is right. The personal sign-up period has ended already." Then she blushed again. Yi Mo looked disappointed. He knew Yang Zheng wouldn't lie to him, but he was still disappointed. Thinking about this, Yi Mo saluted to Mu Yiqing. "Thank you for the heads up, Brother Mu, I'm Yi Mo. My luck is really bad." Mu Yiqing smiled. "The tournament happens every decade, so don't mind it, Brother Yi. 10 years pass by really quickly for us cultivators." Yi Mo looked at Mu Yiqing's face and understood something. He immediately said, "Brother Mu, I didn't sign up for the sake of the Hall of Fame, but because I want to go to the Desert Herb Valley." Mu Yiqing's eyes flashed with joy, and he immediately said, "If you don't mind, we can talk somewhere else, Brother Yi." An hour later, Yi Mo had joined Mu Yiqing to his hotel. He didn't expect to be able to find a spot for the tournament at the last moment. Mu Yiqing was the sect leader of a small 3-star sect, the Pill Herb sect. They didn't have any famous pill master or any special pills, so the sect was declining rapidly. Although they had also signed up for the tournament, their highest-ranked pill master was only a level 4 spirit pill master. It would be impossible for them to get into the Hall of Fame, much less the top 10. Mu Yiqing came this time to bring his daughter and eldest disciple to experience the world, so he had signed up for the sect. He then happened to meet Yi Mo, who didn't have a spot to go in. He was willing to give Yi Mo a spot, and Yi Mo too agreed to go to the tournament in their name without hesitation. Yi Mo only asked for 1 spot into the Herb Valley, so both parties agreed immediately. Chapter 891, Pill Concoction Hall of Fame Tournament. Chapter 891, Pill Concoction Hall of Fame Tournament. After some talk, Yi Mo realized that the tanned girl behind Mu Yiqing was his daughter Mu He, at Stage 8 Kai Gathering. The young man was Lu Ming, Mu Yiqing's big disciple, who was at Foundation Establishment State Level 5. The old man was the strongest person in the pill herb sect and he had no name. People called him Uncle Zhao. These few people soon became familiar to him. Yimo could tell that other than Mu Yiqing, Mu He and Lu Ming were simple-minded people that didn't have second intentions. Mu He was a bit tanned but she was still pretty, and Lu Ming clearly liked his little martial sister. Their sect had 2 spots. Mu Yiqing and Lu Ming were going to go, but due to Yimo, Lu Ming wasn't going. Yimo also found out that each sect had limited spots. 5-star sects had 5 spots, whereas those below it only had 2 spots. It was 3 days until the tournament. Lu Ming and Mu He had never been to such prosperous place, so they couldn't wait to go out. Yimo didn't dare to go out as he didn't have much money left and he was scared to see that Tong dark-faced cultivator. Yang Zheng never went to find again. Mu Yiqing and the Uncle Zhao went to the auction that was held every tournament. The 3 days passed quickly and it was already the first day of the tournament. Mu Yiqing took Yimo and the others to the Pill Association Square early in the morning, but it was already filled with people. So many people, Mu He sighed. Even Yimo was shook with how many people there were. At the top of the square, there was a huge restriction that separated the watching area from the tournament area. There were already more than 10 judges sitting in the tournament area. Yimo immediately saw that Tong dark-faced man amongst the judges. He was expressionless. Yimo quickly looked down. He felt a little better not seeing Sima Zhu. He was much harder to deal with than dark-faced Tong. Yimo estimated there to be about 6,000 people in this tournament. How long was this going to take? Mu Yiqing told Uncle Zhao to take care of the 2 kids and he took Yimo to sign in. Martial brother Mu, there's so many people here. How long is the tournament going to take? Yimo asked. Mu Yiqing clearly had been there more than once. He smiled. Martial brother Yi, don't worry. Although there are really a lot of people here, the first round is eliminatory. 90% of people will get eliminated here. Yimo was dazed. Is there such a high elimination rate? He was worried. What if the first question wasn't about pill concoction? What if it was slightly related but he didn't know? Mu Yiqing patted Yimo's shoulder. There's about 3 times more people this time. I believe the eliminatory round will be even faster. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked to the stage and said, "Everyone quiet down." The once every decade Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament is about to begin. This tournament is held by the North Far State Pill Association and the number 1 Pill King of the North Far State, Level 5 Pill King Kongqianbei. After the wave of applause, the middle-aged man spoke again. As the City Lord of Broken Leaf City, I, Fang Hongjian, represent this city to welcome all the friends from the cultivation realm, as well as Kongqianbei and the 10 famous judges. The names of the judges are Pill Cauldron Sect Leader Qiao, Immortal Herb Valley Leader Ming Xin, etc. There was another round of applause. The higher-ups really take this tournament seriously. Even that old man, Kong Yi, is here. Isn't that obvious? Look at the judges, the least powerful ones are semi-pill kings. I heard that Ming Xin Qianbei is already a level 1 pill king. Yimo didn't know anyone other than dark-faced Tong. Mu Yiqing saw Yimo's face and realized that he didn't know these people at all, so he said quietly to Yimo, "Old man Kong Yi is a level 5 pill king. He's very good at pill concoction, but he usually stays hidden. Another one is Ming Xin Qianbei, from the Immortal Herb Valley. They usually don't come, but this time they did. They are a 5-star sect." "What is the Immortal Herb Valley?" Yimo asked Mu Yiqing. Mu Yiqing was dazed. He said with envy, "The Immortal Herb Valley is the most famous pill sect in the North Far State. They're very famous in all of the North Far State. Many people want to go there but they only take in women. Ming Xin Qianbei's disciple, Qing Muxin, is a rare beauty of the world. She is number 5 on the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame and number 22 on the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Is she that outstanding?" Yimo was shook. "Of course," Mu Yiqing said, "I heard Qin Muxin is preparing to reach level 7 Spirit Pill Master right now, but she's not even 30 yet." Another cultivator on the side heard this and intervened, Friend, that's old news. She reached Golden Core State 3 months ago and she is no longer in the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame. She might soon appear on the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. Yi Mo fell into silence. He had never thought of himself as a genius. The reason he had what he had today was due to the Golden Page World and the 3-birth chant. He knew how long it had taken to become a level 7 spirit pill master. Perhaps it could take longer than forming a golden core. That meant that if she focused on cultivation, perhaps she would have reached nascent soul state by now. Were there really such geniuses in the world? For the first time, Yi Mo felt his confidence had been struck. Qin Muxin is strong, but she was only number 5 on Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame. I believe that in the pursuit of Tao, the most important thing is cultivation. Other things are less important. The number 1 on Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame, Li Xiaohua, is worth admiring. He's only 23, someone else said. The other cultivator nodded. The Sea Palace's Li Xiaohua managed to reach Foundation Establishment State Primary Stage at the age of 23 and become number 1. He's indeed talented, but the abundant resources the Sea Palace has are far from what other sects can compare with. Yi Mo no longer wanted to listen to this. He was more than 30 years old and only at Foundation Establishment State Level 7. What is more, this was with the help of the Golden Page World. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even had the right to talk. His speed was far inferior compared to those geniuses. Fang Hongjian's deep voice sounded again. Everyone knows that the top 10 can get 3 spots into the Desert Herb Valley. Other than this, the top 10 may get a free pill concoction from Kong Yi Qianbei. The crowd immediately erupted. Old man Kong Yi concocting pills for them. It was a dream. Chapter 892, Sinister Test Question. Chapter 892, Sinister Test Question. Yi Mo felt at a loss. He didn't need that old man to make pills for him. He didn't need Heaven Level 5 pills with his current power. He only needed those below Spirit Level 7. He just wanted a spot for the Herb Valley. Yi Mo patted Mu Yiqing and said, "Martial brother Mu, be realistic. This top 10 doesn't seem easy." Yi Mo was worried if even he could get into the top 10 anymore. If he took out his Mist Lotus Heartfire, he might even be able to get in first place, but if he planned on living for a few more years, it was best not to take it out. Yang Zheng, who was spectating, finally realized why the Immortal Treasure Tower took this so seriously. The tower had Golden Core State and Nascent Soul State primary stage cultivators. To these people, finding spirit herbs wasn't hard, it was hard to turn the spirit herbs they found into pills. If Master Kong Yi were to concoct pills for them, then they would easily get spirit condensing pills. He looked up and felt some bitterness in his mouth. They were fighting over the opportunity of letting Master Kong Yi concoct pills for them. If his side with Yi Mo could have one, it would be his uncle's great fortune. As Yang Zheng thought about this, looked up and saw Yi Mo. He was shaken instantly. How did Yi Mo come in and how did he get into the group of people participating in the tournament? Did he find another sect to let him represent them? He really wanted to ask Yi Mo, but the tournament was about to begin, so he couldn't go. Okay, now that I have announced the prizes, I hope everyone can do their best in the tournament. I hereby formally declare the start of the 213th Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament. Fireworks erupted at the statement of the announcer. All the participants entered the tournament stage based on their jade card. Yi Mo and Yiqing handed up their card and followed everyone into the tournament grounds. Yi Mo immediately knew this was a special magic artifact. The room didn't look big from the outside, but it was huge once one went inside. Even with everyone taking a seat, it still didn't seem squeezed. Yi Mo found that each seat had a restriction that prevented others from looking. When everyone sat down, a jade card appeared before them. Yi Mo scanned it and saw there were images of 12 types of herbs inside. An examiner then went in and said to everyone, "The first round is 15 minutes. During this time, 90% of the participants will be eliminated." Yi Mo heard this and was shook, but other people seemed ready for it, and no one objected. The examiner said, "Everyone, you have the image of 12 types of spirit herbs in front of you. Please write their names and characteristics on the jade slip provided. Then use the herbs to make a pill recipe. This simple? Yimo thought at first, but he soon realized it wasn't. It was actually very hard to form so much as one pill recipe. The only reason why he felt it was simple was because he was a pill king. Yimo let his spirit sense scan the jade card again and realized that he knew all 12 types of spirit herbs. 3 of them he wouldn't have known in the past, but after reading things, he knew. Thinking about this, Yimo rejoiced. This question was made for him. If he didn't have things, he would have only been able to recognize 9, but Yimo was sure that most other people wouldn't even recognize that many. And without things, they wouldn't recognize the last 3 types for sure. Yimo was about to write the names of the spirit herbs without a thought, when he suddenly felt like something didn't seem right. Then he started to sweat cold. That was close. He almost fell into dark-faced Tong's trap. Luckily he didn't start writing. Dark-faced Tong, light-faced Sima, and Yimo himself were the only 3 to have read things. These 3 herbs must have appeared here due to these 2 guys. Whoever recognized the last 3 would be the most suspicious. What a sinister question. It was targeted at him. Yimo cursed and wrote down only 9 types of herbs. He might be eliminated, but that was much better than losing his life. Besides, Yimo felt that he might not be eliminated, even if he only wrote down 9 names. Some of the 9 were very uncommon too. Yimo knew them from the journal written by that Foundation Establishment State cultivator who never left East Black State his entire life. Yimo then wrote his own pill recipe based on the characteristics of the herbs. Pill recipes needed to be tested, but Yimo couldn't, and he was sure other people couldn't have either. The recipe he wrote wasn't likely to succeed, but he logically explained why it could work. Yimo wrote a recipe called the Weave Spirit Pill, a level 4 spirit pill recipe. He wrote it based on a level 4 spirit herb called the Attract Spirit Herb. The Attract Spirit Herb had an important function, which was to strengthen spirit sense. However, this spirit herb couldn't be made into a pill and thus had to be consumed directly. This way, only 10% of the potency was utilized. Yimo used what he learnt from the new illusion cloud sword to theorize the separation of the Attract Spirit Herb's potency into many gusts before forming a Spirit Kai whirlpool to surround the potency of the herb. This way, the potency wouldn't be lost, and more than 80% of the potency could be utilized. However, he made this from the illusion cloud strike, so if it really was feasible, only he could make it. One would need to be a level 4 spirit pill master and know the illusion cloud strike, otherwise, one wouldn't know how to control the spirit Kai. Most importantly, one needed a rather strong spirit sense. Yimo was quite interested in testing it after creating this recipe. In the cultivation realm, those pills related to spirit sense were very rare, because without special methods, they were the hardest to make. Yimo just finished writing when the examiner announced, "Time is up. Please go to the square and wait for the results." Yimo followed everyone out. He heard the discussions and knew that there had truly been a lot of people who couldn't answer the questions. Making up a pill recipe was already hard, and then there were also quite a few herbs no one had ever heard of. Chapter 893, Myriad of Masters. Chapter 893, Myriad of Masters. Yimo saw that the judges had started looking at the jade slips. There were thousands of them, but it wasn't a huge workload for them. Most contestants were discussing the questions at the waiting area. Mu Yiqing squeezed through the crowd to get to Yimo and said, "Martial brother Yi, how many did you recognize?" "I only recognized 5. Yimo heard this and knew Mu Yiqing had been disqualified for sure. 5 herbs and not even an recipe, there was no way Mu Yiqing was going to pass. "You recognized 5 of them. I only recognized 3, another contestant said with dejection. "Yes, these herbs are too hard. We rarely get to see them at all." "I've only recognized 6, someone else said, but he was clearly satisfied with his result. Yimo nodded. 6 herbs were enough to form a simple recipe, but he was soon caught up in the conversation of others and eavesdropped. "Martial brother Cai, what were those spirit herbs?" "They were really uncommon," a beautiful woman in her 30s asked a man, who also didn't look very old. She looked very fond of him. All the contestants around them stopped talking and formed a circle around the Marshall brother CAI, waiting to hear his answer. Yimo studied this Marshall brother CAI. He didn't seem very old, but he was already at false core state. He was probably in his 40s to 50s, despite looking like he was in his 30s. Seeing Yimo study this guy, Mu Iching said quietly, his CAI Sheng, the core disciple of the Heaven Pill sect. He's only 49. He's a famous pill concoction genius in the North Far State. He even ranked 10th on the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. No wonder he was so popular. Yimo also wanted to hear how many herbs the guy had recognized. Marshall brother CAI seemed very polite. He smiled and saluted with his fist. This year's questions are a bit hard indeed. All the herbs on there were uncommon. To be honest, I don't think these questions can reflect a pill master's abilities. Some people are very good at pill concoction, but they weren't able to recognize these rare herbs. This immediately was confirmed by everyone. Some people were very good at pill concoction, but they didn't know many uncommon herbs. The test's questions weren't very good indeed. Yimo thought that guy was quite smart. His words had resonated with everyone. He got on everyone's good side without doing anything. When the voices quietened down, CAI Sheng continued, but we also need to be understanding with the Pill Association. There are too many contestants this time. A question like this is simple and can reach their goals in the shortest time. So those friends who have real skills don't need to mind it too much. You just need to know yourself that you're truly skilled. There was another round of applause from the people around him. Clearly, they all agreed. Yimo realized the guy first had spoken for the contestants, and then spoken for the Pill Association's sake. He really knew how to react. CAI Sheng, stop saying good things. You've ended up saying good things for both sides. Now, we want to hear the answer to the question. You don't need to comfort us and then comfort the Pill Association, a man said impolitely. Clearly, he didn't like the way CAI Sheng had spoken. CAI Sheng wasn't angry at all. Instead, he smiled and said, "You're right, friend. I was lucky enough to have read a book left behind by enchantment. Thus, I was able to recognize 10 herbs." Yimo heard this and his heart sunk. CAI Sheng had recognized 10. He was so good. Yet, this guy had only ranked 10th in the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. It seemed like it would be really hard for him to get into the top 10 while conserving his real strength. Yimo just hoped that the next question didn't have content from things on it. CAI Sheng clearly hadn't read things, but he could recognize 10 herbs, which meant that there were really a lot of capable people in the cultivation realm. Of course, Yimo would never believe that CAI Sheng had just read some book left behind by a Qianbei. He didn't understand how the Heaven Pill sect worked, but it was probably not a simple sect. As soon as CAI Sheng said this, everyone was shook. Marshall brother CAI is so good. You managed to recognize 10. I think that even if you hadn't written the recipe, you would still pass. I think Marshall brother CAI can improve and get into top 3 this time. Marshall brother CAI, what were those 10 herbs? What do they do? Just when CAI Sheng was about to speak, a sneer interrupted him. Everyone looked at where the sneer came from. A woman in a pink dress said in contempt, "You've only recognized 10 herbs. What's there to show off about? Looking at you, I thought you would have recognized 12, or have made a heaven-level pill recipe." Clearly, the pink-dressed female was targeting CAI Sheng. Those who wanted to defend CAI Sheng saw the sect logo on her clothes and shut their mouths. The immortal herb valley wasn't something ordinary cultivators could mess with. However, CAI Sheng wasn't angry. He saluted with his fists. "So it's Marshall's sister Guang from the immortal herb valley." My insubstantial knowledge made Marshall's sister Guang laugh. "I believe you've recognized 12 types of herbs." The pink-dressed lady said calmly, "CAI Sheng, you don't need to act like this. I've only recognized 10, but my Marshall sister recognized more than you. This woman is called Guang Wei. She's from the immortal herb valley. She ranked 17th on the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame, but her Marshall sister is famous. Qin Muxin, she ranked 22nd, but that was 10 years ago." Mu Iching explained to Yimo Marshall's sister Qin, "Come here, the pink-dressed lady waved her hand to someone in the distance. A blue-dressed woman saw this and immediately walked over. She said to Guang Wei, "Marshal Sister Guang, you dash Marshal Sister Mushin, say the names of the 12 types of herbs. Otherwise, some people think they're number one in the world after just recognizing 10. Guang Wei then glanced coldly at Cai Sheng. Cai Sheng smiled bitterly, but she didn't speak. Marshal Brother Yi, this blue-dressed lady is Qin Mushin of the immortal Herb Valley, a definite genius, Mu Yiqing said again. Yimo studied Qin Mushin. She appeared to be in her 20s. Her new moon-like eyebrows with her flower-like face seemed very peaceful, like a poppy in the depth of a valley. Her dark silky hair laid on her back with a few loose strands around her ear. The first feeling she gave Yimo was that she was pretty, but she didn't like to talk. She wasn't cold, however. He just couldn't connect this serene water-like girl with the 5th cultivator on the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame. Those on the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame weren't easy to mess with. How could they not have very powerful means? Was she really strong at fighting too? Qin Mushin walked over calmly and said, "Marshal Sister Guang, I could only recognize 11, not 12. 11 is 11. Still better than 10. Guang Wei said. Cai Sheng was like a gentleman. He walked up to Qin Mushin and saluted her with his fists. "Marshal Sister Qin, please enlighten me. I will be very grateful." Qin Mushin nodded and said, "The ones I recognized were the firefox flower, the earth dragon root, the spirit attraction grass, the moon attraction ice, the yellow wall tail, the socketwood skin, etc. 2 of them were indeed in things. It seemed there were quite a lot of knowledgeable people out there. I wasn't able to recognize the last one," Qin Mushin said. "The last one was the sea mud flowerless weed," another voice said. Chapter 894, The Controversial Pill Recipe. Chapter 894, The Controversial Pill Recipe. Someone had actually recognized 12 types of herbs. Yimo was feeling less and less sure of himself. Although he knew that he wouldn't be eliminated in the first round, he didn't feel so easy anymore. Yimo was aware that the first round's points would be counted into the total score. Even 1 point less might affect him for getting into top 10. Yimo and the others looked at the person who claimed to have recognized the last herb. Even Qin Mushin had beams in her eyes, clearly not expecting someone to have recognized the 12th herb. The person who spoke was an old man who was at Golden Core State Tertiary stage. Yimo felt a burning sensation from the old man. He immediately knew that the old man must have a rare fire seed. He was a pill concoction master. However, Yimo didn't regret his decision. Dark-faced Tong wouldn't dare investigate the prodigy of the immortal Herb Valley, but he was no one. "It's Chenqianbei." Mushin learned something. Qin Mushin saluted the old man with her fists. It was obvious that she truly respected him. Yimo found that everyone else also looked very respectful to the old man. Mu Yiqing could tell that Yimo didn't know the old man, so he explained again, "He's called Cheng Yejuan, the number 1 on the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame 3 times in a row. He's a level 1 pill king. There is rarely anyone who doesn't know him." Yimo now understood why so many people were so respectful to him. Yimo glanced up at the judges' stage, but he found in surprise that everyone else was there except for that dark-faced Tong. Yimo felt a little at ease. It was best that the guy never came back again. Cheng Yejuan was a little older and a level 1 pill king, but he had no arrogance. He answered any question people asked him. "Chenqianbei, can you please estimate how many herbs you must recognize this time in order to not be eliminated?" Someone asked what everyone wanted to know. Chen Yejuan thought for a moment and said, "The questions this time were indeed strange. It's strange because there was the spirit attraction grass. But if you managed to answer 8 questions and didn't use the spirit attraction grass to make a recipe, then it should be fine." "Her Chenqianbei, why is that?" "I used the spirit attraction grass," someone immediately asked in shock. The red-dressed lady replied, "Isn't it obvious? Everyone knows that the spirit attraction grass shouldn't be added into pill. If you included it, then you will be eliminated for sure." Chen Yejuan nodded. "Why can't it enter a pill? Why did they put such a herb into the questions?" someone asked. Clearly, he had used it in his pill recipe too. Yimo was dazed too. Did that mean he had been eliminated too? Yimo didn't want to believe Chen, but he felt the old man might be right. Chen Yejuan looked at the unsatisfied contestants and said, "If I'm not wrong, the Pill Association used it to make the eliminations faster." Yimo had solved the problem of the grass not being able to enter a pill, but after hearing Chen Yejuan, he realized that the judges would immediately eliminate you if they saw the spirit attraction grass in the recipe. They wouldn't even look at it just so that they could save time. So that's it. People around them discussed, and Yimo felt worse and worse. He had been screwed up by his intelligence. He could have made a random pill recipe. Why did he have to add the spirit attraction herb? Martial brother Yi, are you alright? Mu Yiqing realized that Yimo was a bit down after they started talking about the spirit attraction herb. Yimo waved his hand. It's fine, Sai, I used the spirit attraction herb in my recipe too. I think I can leave now. Mu Yiqing was dazed when he understood what happened. Even he knew that the spirit attraction herb couldn't be used. Why had Yimo, a level 6 spirit pill master, used it? Yimo cursed. If it hadn't been that he needed to be so wary of that dark-faced Tong, he could have written the 12 types of herbs and easily found a recipe in things. He wouldn't have even needed to think about it. Yimo felt down. While everyone else was waiting for the results, the judges were amazed by his pill recipe. Genius idea. He thought of using his Spirit Kai Whirlpool to preserve the potency and fully utilize the Spirit Attraction herb to make the Spirit Weaving pill. If this method really works, it would amaze the entire Luoyu continent, a judge praised. Brother Wang, did someone really put the Spirit Attraction herb into the recipe? Did you actually bother looking at such recipe? An old man stopped checking the jade slips and turned to the other judge in shock. The conversation attracted all the other judges. They all wanted to look at the pill recipe. This is blasphemy. If the spirit attraction herb can be added just like that, then I will eat this jade slip. Yet, Vice Association Director Wang, you're saying this pill recipe is creative, someone said in contempt. Elder Yu is right. Many people write B** shishit for the question. It's already hard to form a Spirit Kai whirlpool in the cauldron, much less circulate the spirit attraction herb's herbal contents in the whirlpool. At least I can't do it. Perhaps that contestant is better than me, another judge said. Elder Yu sneered, sect leader Qiao, we're just level 1 pill kings. Perhaps that contestant is more than that. Perhaps he's stronger than us, or perhaps he just happens to be able to do something we can't do. The irony in his words was obvious. At this moment, another pretty middle-aged woman sneered, Elder Yu, just because you can't do it, doesn't mean other people can't. Sect leader Ming Xin, I'm just stating the facts. Elder Yu was just a level 1 pill king, but sect leader Ming Xin was already a level 2 pill king. The middle-aged woman said plainly, let's not argue if this pill recipe is feasible, but if its theory is right. Elder Yu just rejected this pill recipe just because you saw the spirit attraction herb, isn't that a bit too rushed? By the way, where is Tong Wusheng? I heard he got a substantial pill book. Let him see this pill recipe, someone else said. Brother Tong just looked at a few contestants who had recognized 10 or more and left. He seemed to be in a rush, another examiner said. Sect leader Qiao said at this moment, since everyone has different opinions about this pill recipe, then we should let Kong Yiqianbei see it. Chapter 895, Black Horse, Herb Pill Sect. Chapter 895, Black Horse, Herb Pill Sectum. What an innovative idea. Using a Spirit Kai whirlpool and Kong Yi looked at the recipe for a while and exclaimed. But then he shook his head, the idea is great, but it's almost impossible to make the spirit weaving pill. Controlling Spirit Kai like this in the pill is unheard of. Yeah, I don't believe the idea to be feasible too, Elder Yu quickly confirmed. Then eliminate him, a pill maker with such absurd ideas won't accomplish much anyways, sect leader Qiao commented. However, Kong Yi shook his head, although I don't believe the contestant can concoct the spirit weaving pill, his idea creates a whole new branch of pill concoction. His theory is also completely correct. Such a pill master shouldn't be eliminated. He was also able to recognize 9 herbs and use these 9 herbs to write the spirit weaving pill recipe. That is genius enough already. Yes, Kongyi Qianbei is right. I also noticed his pill recipe because he recognized 9 herbs. I believe this is very amazing. Wang Zhongjian approved of this contestant greatly. Kongyi nodded. Give him 8 points. Kongyi Qianbei, wouldn't that be too high? Elder, you didn't care if Yimo got 8 points, but he cared that Wang Zhongjian had found him. There were only 10 points in total for this round. Kongyi shook his head. A person who can have this train of thought is a genius. If the spirit weaving pill could actually be made like that, then even full points should be awarded to him. But he didn't recognize 3 other herbs, another judge muttered quietly. Kongyi shook his head but didn't say anything. He just glanced at the pill recipe once again and left. Just when the contestants were anxiously waiting, a judge came up to the stage and said, "The first round of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament has ended. A total of 500 contestants succeeded in reaching the second round. I will announce the names now. Please stay behind for the second round. Those who don't hear their names called out, please leave the test region and go into the observing region." Yimo had already given up on all hope of reaching the second round. Only 500 had remained out of 6,000. That was a higher than 90% elimination rate. Solitary Cultivator Qin Juta, 6 points. Demon Spirit Sex Yi Zhilong, 6 points. Duo Heart Valleys Wang Huari, 6. 2 points. All Pill Towers Meng Wu, 6. 2 points. Yimo was shook. He knew this round was out of 10 points, but he didn't expect it to be calculated so accurately up to the decimals. He should have been able to get 5 points if he hadn't used the Spirit Attraction herb. Sea Palaces Zhenlong, 7. 7 points. Solitary Cultivator Wu Yonglin, 7. 7 points. Heaven Pill Sects He Liang, 7. 8 points. Immortal Herb Valleys Guangwei Dash. Yimo's heart sunk. Already 480 names had been announced, and there was still no mention of his name. Mu Yiqing knew how Yimo was feeling and patted his shoulder. "Don't be disappointed, the Herb Valley only opens once every 50 years, but the tournament happens every decade. With this experience, perhaps you will have a chance next time." Mu Yiqing was also disappointed. He'd wanted Yimo to represent his sect and get into the top 10 or at least earn a spot on the Hall of Fame, or even at least pass the first round so that the examiner would mention their sect's name. That way, perhaps their pill business would get a little better. Meanwhile, the examiner started speaking even louder. "I'm going to announce the last 10 people now. These are the top 10 contestants of the first round. Herb Pill Sects Yimo 8 points. Heaven Pill Sects Cai Sheng 8. 1 points. Pill Cauldron Mountains WN Guoping 8. 2 points. As Yimo heard his name in the top 10, he was dumbfounded. But immediately, that turned into immense joy. Even he didn't expect to be able to reach the next round with the Spirit Attraction herb in his recipe and even get 8 points. The Desert Plain Herb Valley was filled with resources, and the fastest way to get stronger was with resources. Only with enough power could he find Luo Ying and the others. He didn't have that power as of yet. Luo Yu continent wasn't Earth. Earth wouldn't make so much as a splash if it were to be thrown into the heartless seas. Yimo also vaguely heard that Qin Muxin got 7 points and that Yi Chengjun got 9 points, becoming number 1. That wasn't important to him, though. He was just happy he made it into the next round. Mu Yiqing was also dazed for a long time. After a long while, he shouted in joy, "Martial Brother Yi, did I hear right? Herb Pill Sects Yimo reached top 10 with 8 points. Yimo had calmed down and patted Mu Yiqing. "It seems I'm quite lucky. You heard right, I really did get into the top 10. Arrogant. You just happened to get 8 points, and you don't even know what your name is anymore," another man sneered. Mu Yiqing pulled Yimo to the side. "Ignore him, his Pill Cauldron Mountains WN Guoping. He also got 2 this time, so we can't mess with him." Yimo smiled, he didn't care at all. The Herb Pill Sects Mu He and Lu Minute etc. were all very excited. Even Uncle Zhao, who rarely spoke, was obviously happy. They soon heard many onlookers ask about the Herb Pill sect. They really wanted to get up and shout that they were herb pill sect members, but instead of letting everyone see how weak they actually were, it was better to let them guess. Yang Zheng looked at Yi Mo in disbelief. He didn't think Yi Mo would not only be able to pass the first round but also get 10th place in the first round. Yang Zheng finally came to believe that Yi Mo was truly a level 7 spirit pill master. Thinking about how the Immortal Treasure Tower only had one of their 5 contestants reach the second round and only with a score of 7-3, Yang Zheng felt bitter. If the big manager had let Yi Mo join for them, the Immortal Treasure Tower's name would be on fire. But no one expected that even though Yi Mo was so young, he could have such pill concoction skills. Everyone including him had judged wrongly. Yang Zheng suddenly got his uncle's message. Reading it, he quickly went back to the Immortal Treasure Tower. Xiao Zheng, is that Yi Mo who reached top 10 with 8 points, the Yi Mo you recommended? His uncle asked immediately. Chapter 896. Do you have AF *King problem with that? Chapter 896. Do you have AF *King problem with that? Yang Zheng saw the big manager sit down in silence with a bleak face. He nodded and said, yes, that Yi Mo is the pill master I recommended. I didn't expect him to go to the tournament representing the herb pill sect after being rejected by us. The big manager suddenly said in a deep voice, Elder Yang, as an elder of the Immortal Treasure Tower, you don't even know the skills of the pill master you recommended. Do you even know to what degree you've neglected your job? Yang Jun didn't dare to talk. If he had known about Yi Mo's skill, he would have argued in his favor, but he hadn't. This meant that he didn't know where Yi Mo came from anyway. He wasn't happy with the big manager's words. If it hadn't been for his intervention, Yi Mo would have represented the Immortal Treasure Tower. Now, the big manager messed things up and put the blame on him. Yang Zheng stared dazedly at the big manager. He hadn't thought he was such an unreasonable person. He had suggested Yi Mo, but if his big manager hadn't intervened, this wouldn't have happened. Instead, the big manager didn't blame Elder Feng, but instead blamed his uncle. However then, the big manager immediately stared coldly at Feng Jiqing. Elder Feng, is our Immortal Treasure Tower a place for you to fight for power and benefits? For your own benefit, you pushed away a top 10 spot. Where is the person you recommended? The one who passed the first round for us seemed to be one of our own people. Feng Jiqing was very horrified. He hadn't expected a pill master from a small place like River State to be that good. He hadn't even researched about him, yet Yi Mo was this good. He not only had reached the second round, but also got into top 10. If he had known Yi Mo was this strong, he would have killed him. Although he had been yelled at by the big manager, he didn't dare to rebuke. However, Yi Mo was a dead man to him in his heart. Yang Zheng looked at his emotional big manager and suddenly shivered. The big boss of the Immortal Treasure Tower rarely managed things. IR was usually the big manager who made decisions. It was very easy to lose one's life working for someone like him. He looked at his uncle and sighed. If it hadn't been for his uncle, he wouldn't have stayed there. It looked glamorous, but if you offended the big manager, your life could be very hard. He had set up the River State Immortal Treasure Tower all by himself, but it had been taken away from him by the words of the big manager. He hadn't even been praised for any of his work, but was instead yelled at. In the tournament area, only 500 contestants were left. The top 10 had been surrounded by the others, wanting to connect with them or fawn over them. Almost every pill master of the top 10 was famous. Yi Mo knew what these people were thinking. It was beneficial for their future and their sect to know one of the top 10. The judges up there and the elders of the Pill Association were mostly from the Hall of Fame. It was good to connect with these future pill kings, not to mention how good it could be to know Cheng Yejuan, who had been first 3 times in a row. He was a level 1 pill king and his skills were better than even some of the judges. If he was willing to, he could become a Pill Association elder at any time. Yi Mo was the dark horse. No one knew him. Hello, friend, I'm Demon Spirit Sex Yi Zhilong. I was lucky enough to make it to the second round. How many points did you get? A contestant came up to him from the side. He had no one to share his joy with, So he found Yi-Mo. Yi-Mo heard this name and remembered that he had gotten 6 points, barely making it. Yi-Mo saluted with his fists and said, "I'm Herb Pill Sect's Yi-Mo. I was lucky to make it to the second round too. Brother Yi, your surname is also Yi. It seems we're really fortunate." "Sorry, I've never heard of the Herb Pill Sect." Yi Zhilong had an apologetic look on his face. Perhaps he had gotten so excited that he hadn't found out that Yi-Mo was top 10. Yi-Mo smiled and didn't get angry. He knew Yi Zhilong was speaking his heart. The funny thing was that he hadn't heard of the Demon Spirit Sect neither. So, it's the Yi-Mo who is said to be halfway into the top 10 of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. You're good. I, WN Guoping, want to see how you're going to get into the top 10 of the Hall of Fame. But it seems you're not that good. You'll stick around with a little P*NK from the Demon Sect, a contemptuous voice interrupted them. You're Herb Pill Sect's Yi-Mo, top 10 of the first round. Yi Zhiping remembered now and looked at Yi-Mo in shock. Yi-Mo saw that WN Guoping was looking for trouble with him more than once. He stared coldly at him. "What does me being in top 10 got to do with you? I'm talking with someone from the Demon Sect. Do you have any F*King problem with that?" "Yes, do you have a F*King problem with that, WN Guoping?" "Ha ha ha. I, Zhuang Man, like these sort of words." A coarse voice sounded and laughed. Yi-Mo found a man that looked extremely bulky. He was nearly 2 meters tall. His were full of muscles. Yi-Mo really couldn't picture such a person to be a pill master. Wait, Zhuang Man. He was from the All-Beast Mountain, with 6 points. Yi-Mo sighed. One really couldn't judge a book by its cover. WN Guoping saw this and his expression looked bad. "Zhuang, you're really going to go against me, aren't you?" "Go against you? Do you deserve it? Let your Pill Cauldron Mountain's big martial brother decide this." Then, Zhuang Man couldn't even be bothered to look at him. He walked up to Yi-Mo and saluted him with his fists. "I'm the All-Beast Mountain's Zhuang Man. I highly approve of Brother Yi. I'm different from you. I have large amounts of spirit herbs and materials supplied by the sect to concoct pills and good masters to teach me. Only then did I get 8 points. However, Brother Yi relied on yourself to get 8 points. I look favorably to you." Zhuang Man looked coarse, but he was quite meticulous. He could tell that guy was no simple character. He had slapped WN Guoping's face to get on his good side. Perhaps he was using him to strike WN Guoping, but Yi-Mo didn't care. At this moment, the examiner said, "All contestants, the first round has finished. The second round is about to begin. Please find a place to sit and listen to the second question." Chapter 897, Concocting the Spirit Weaving Pill. Chapter 897, Concocting the Spirit Weaving Pill. Everyone sat down and prepared himself. The examiner announced, "The second question is based on the first question. Everyone here recognized at least 6 herbs. The second question is for you to concoct the pill recipe you made based on the herbs you recognized in the first quest." Before the examiner finished, the scene already erupted. Yi-Mo's heart sunk too. Had he made the wrong decision? The pill recipe each cultivator made was only theoretical, just like his spirit weaving pill. It was too hard to make a pill purely based on theory. The other pill masters had similar thoughts, so it was very noisy. Yi-Mo frowned, but he didn't make a noise. He didn't believe that the examiners and judges couldn't think of this. When the noise quietened down, the main examiner spoke again. "Everyone, quiet down and listen to the question. If you miss something, that will be your responsibility." The voices suddenly stopped. Clearly, no one wanted to miss anything. The examiner nodded and continued, "The second round's points aren't based on the pill being concocted or not. Of course, if you were to actually make the pill you wrote about, you will definitely reach the third round. The main points of the second round, however, will be awarded for the herbal refinement and pill concoction steps. Everyone will get the herbs they recognized in the first round and start the pill concoction. The cauldrons you use are special ones provided by the Pill Association that can record your herbal refinement and pill concoction process. The final points will be awarded based on your pill concoction skill. No matter who it was, They had to refine the herbs with fire before concocting a pill. So the second round was based on herbal refinement. As for the actual pill concoction, it was probably prepared for the top 10. Not everyone could concoct the recipe that they had made impromptu. Someone asked, "Does this mean it's more beneficial to those who recognized more herbs? Wouldn't this be unfair?" The examiner replied calmly, "You know in your heart whether it's fair or not. If other people were able to recognize the herbs, why couldn't you? Moreover, if you can only refine one herb, but refine it to 100%, then no one else might have as high marks as you even if they refine 12 herbs. If you just recognized 6 herbs and your refinement isn't too good, but you make the pill you devised on the spot, you will also still have higher points than others. If you weren't able to make your own recipe, will your final mark be 0? Another cultivator asked. The examiner looked at him and said, "You clearly didn't listen to my words. Your pill concoction methods also count towards your marks. They are recorded, and the judges will give points accordingly. If your process was perfect, then even if the pill wasn't formed, your points won't be low." Yimo recognized 9 herbs, so even if he couldn't make the spirit weaving pill, his refinement technique wouldn't lose to anyone, even if he didn't use the mist lotus heartfire. He should be able to refine the herbs more than 90%. The pill concoction process also counting was good news to him. Even if he didn't make the spirit weaving pill, he shouldn't have low marks. After the question came out, even the spectators were discussing that although everybody had a chance, clearly those who had recognized more herbs stood a better chance. Yimo and the others didn't wait too long before getting their cauldrons and herbs. His number was 10 as he was ranked 10th in the first round. He checked his cauldron with his spirit sense and found a recording formation indeed. The contestant couldn't see the data, but it definitely was being transmitted through a special formation to the judges. Yimo didn't start refining immediately. He only had 9 herbs, and he only had one chance. He wanted to see how good the other contestants were. Yimo scanned the contestants and was shook. Out of the 500 people, he saw 12 types of pill fire and 6 rare fire seeds. Pill fire was an external fire, and it couldn't live too long. It was harvested by cultivators to become their fire for pill concoction or forgery, but pill fires were far inferior to the rare fires of heaven and earth. They were much stronger than one's own Kai fire, however. Other than this, Cai Sheng of the Heaven Pill sect was using the stone skin fire, ranked 30th in the cultivation realm. One other cultivator who was among the top 10 used the Bleak Chen Bone Flame, ranked 19th. Mu Qinshin used a Blue Phoenix Flame, ranked 21st. Yimo looked at Zhuang Man, he used Beast Heart Fire, ranked 27th, while the old man who had ranked first used Kenshin Fire. Yimo took back his spirit sense and started using his own foundation establishment state Kai Fire. He didn't dare to use the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Most people were disappointed by the flame Yimo used. This meant that he was just a solitary cultivator. If he were to do anything exceptional, many sects would want Yimo, but Yimo didn't even have a rare flame. A pill master's future was mostly based on his flame. Without a rare fire, he wouldn't be able to become a strong pill master, much less a pill king. Rare flames weren't something ordinary people could get in the first place, they were passed down by the sect. Nobody would think Yimo could get a rare flame by himself. Still, even some other contestants rested easy after seeing Yimo take out his foundation establishment state Kai Fire. Yimo didn't hold back in terms of skill, though, and went on to refine 3 herbs at a time. His Kai Fire wasn't as fast as those rare flames, so his speed was just average, but Yimo had his strong points. His pill formation was very fast. Once the herbs were refined, no one would be able to beat him in terms of pill formation speed. After the 9 gusts of herbal liquid were refined, Yimo simply threw the impurities outside of the cauldron and started to control the liquids with his spirit sense. He was very careful. Making the spirit weaving pill was his only certain way of getting a good mark. The pill had a high requirement for spirit sense, so Yimo took out more than 70% of his spirit sense to form the spirit Kai whirlpool to separate the herbal attributes of the spirit attraction grass. He used the remaining 30% to control the other 8 herbs. The whole process was even harder than making the cow horn pill. Chapter 898, Shocking the Scene. Chapter 898, Shocking the Scene. Not all judges neglected Yi Mo. The sect leader of the immortal herb valley, Ming Xin, recognized Yi Mo for his spirit-weaving pill with the 9 herbs. 3 of the 12 herbs had been supplied by Tong Wusheng, and only because they had been supplied were they added to the test. Even Ming Xin only knew 2 of the 3, and that had been thanks to a special occasion. They were very uncommon. Yi Mo has managed to recognize 9, he had just missed the 3 supplied by Tong Wusheng. In Ming Xin's eyes, Yi Mo's knowledge was already very rich. The main thing was that she was very interested in the spirit-weaving pill Yi Mo had created. She believed that someone who could create something like this was definitely a genius. Hence, she had been watching Yi Mo. She sighed when she saw Zhuang Man try to connect with Yi Mo. 2 disciples from her sect had passed to the first round, but both of them, Qin Muxin and Guang Wei, had been chatting with Yi Chengjun and ignored Yi Mo. She felt that although Cheng Yejuan was the pill concoction hall of fame's number 1 and a level 1 pill king, he wasn't important to their sect. He was near the end of his lifespan, and if he couldn't break through, being a level 1 pill king would be his limit. Moreover, she was a level 2 pill king herself. When she saw Yi Mo use Kai Fire, she was disappointed. However, she didn't move her attention. Yi Mo didn't disappoint her. She had checked Yi Mo's refinement level immediately. She found that all 9 herbs had been refined more than 93%. She took a breath in and couldn't help to compliment him to herself. Such skill, refining herbs more than 93% with an ordinary foundation establishment state Kai Fire is impressive. When she saw Yi Mo start pill concoction without stopping at all, she almost stood up in shock. He's really starting to make the spirit-weaving pill. Yi Mo was using his spirit sense to make the herbal liquid spin inside the cauldron. He weaved pill signs one by one. He didn't care if it wasn't being recorded at all. He knew that they could only record his hand signs, but the pill signs wouldn't be recorded. Yi Mo no longer cared if he could make the spirit-weaving pill. He just wanted to do his best within his capabilities. Even if he failed, he would get a good mark. The herbal liquid kept taking form and getting separated by his pill signs. After 15 minutes, the herbal liquid in the cauldron had spiritual attributes. Yi Mo then used the Illusion Cloud's Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike Spirit Kai technique into the pill. Yi Mo knew that this was the most crucial step, which would determine if his spirit-weaving pill could succeed. If he failed, it wasn't likely that he could reach the top 10. Yi Mo knew that he would eventually be able to succeed if he had a pile of herbs to practice with, but he only had one chance in this tournament. When sect leader Ming Xin saw Yi Mo really form spirit Kai whirlpools in the cauldron and control them to direct the spirit attraction grass's herbal attributes into the whirlpool, she was shook. She didn't dare to believe this was real, but it was more real than ever. She looked at the surveillance formation dazedly and kept asking herself, how could that cultivator do it? How could he control the spirit Kai whirlpool and form multiple ones in the cauldron while using his spirit sense to lead the herbal attribute into it? Had he concocted pills like that one before? Otherwise, he would have never been able to do it. Little did she know that Yi Mo had only used such technique while fighting. Yi Mo was probably the first guy to use a sword technique in pill concoction. Yi Mo was sweating a lot. He had enough cultivation essence, but his spirit sense was getting exhausted. Yi Mo wanted to form 9 spirit Kai whirlpools, but when he started controlling the 5th, his sea of consciousness hurt as though needles were stabbing it. It was too difficult. Yi Mo yelled. Not good. Usually, he would have given up already. Using his spirit sense so much was hurting his sea of consciousness, but he knew that he couldn't give up now. Yi Mo took a spirit recovery pill without thinking. With the pill, the 9 spirit Kai whirlpools got formed. Yi Mo rejoiced. If he stabilized the eddies and pulled the pill out, everything would end up well. Yi Mo had wanted to form a spirit Kai whirlpool for every pill, but now, he had changed his mind. He decided to use 3 whirlpools per pill. There were 9 in total, so he would concoct 3 spirit weaving pills. Yi Mo was aware that when he was more familiar with this pill concoction method, he would be able to concoct 9 pills per cauldron, each pill having 1 whirlpool. Pulling a pill out was easy, but spirit weaving pill was a completely different story. If he handled it just slightly incorrectly, the spirit weaving pill would become a useless pill. When the first liquid was pulled out, Yimo felt his spirit shake. Crack! Yimo cursed. One of the 3 pills had turned into dust. Yimo didn't dare to hesitate. He charged at it again with a few pill signs and separated them with his 2 hands. 2 spirit-weaving pill flew out of the cauldron into the jade bottles Yimo had prepared. Yimo wiped his sweat. Strictly speaking, his cauldron of pills had failed. However, he had the spirit recovery pill, the strong pill pulling technique and excellent pill signs, thanks to which he finally succeeded in concocting 2 pills. Yimo wasn't too happy, however. The spirit attraction grass had lost a part of its herbal qualities when he was refining it. Also, it had lost some more when he had been inundating the pill with spirit whirlpool. However, Ming Xin was full of shock at that moment. She hadn't expected Yimo to actually be able to concoct the spirit weaving pill. Not only that, he had made it but with an ordinary cauldron and an ordinary kai fire. This meant that if he had a better pill fire and a better cauldron, with a bit more practice, he could make it easily. Genius, Ming Xin murmured. Do such geniuses really exist? She really wanted to approach Yimo and look at his spirit weaving pill. Could it really recover spirit sense? You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.